Welcome everybody to a bonus episode of the MiniMapCast. This is minimap.com.au's weekly games podcast. Well, this one isn't the weekly one, but it's part of that series. I'm off track already. My name's Kerry Palmer, and joining me, as always, in front of a toasty, warm fireplace, a few days after Christmas, is Jeremy Braditich.
Hello, I'm keeping my hands warm by the fire. Oh God, my posture's terrible, isn't it? Keeping my hands warm by the fire.
First time you've turned to the side and then looked at the camera ever in your life.
I know, it's so bad. I need to fix something there, but I think
what's your lumbar setting set to on your
the highest as possible.
And does that push you out of the chair to the point where you just slouch and don't do it right?
The issue is that because I'm bisexual, the way I sit in chairs is just completely incorrect, no matter what. And so
Sam attributes that to ADHD.
It's kind of both.
It could well be both.
Yeah. But the way I sit in chairs is sideways or kind of upside down or often
on your legs.
Often at work, I will sit on the table with my feet sitting on my chair, and someone will walk past being like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like,
you're crouching on your chair.
No. I'm sitting on my table, and then I put my feet on the footrest, which is not a footrest, is just the seat of my chair.
What are you facing when you do that? Or you got a laptop on your lap?
I'm on my laptop with my back to a screen.
Oh my God.
And people look at me like, what is this?
That's wild.
Yeah. Or I'll just sit on my desk with my legs crossed. Yeah, it's bad. But sometimes I remember once I was at one of my old jobs, and I was talking to one of my coworkers, and she was telling me about how she was queer, and I was like, "Oh, me too." And she was like, "Oh, really?" And I pointed to how I was sitting, and then and then pointed to my cuffed jeans, and she was like, "Oh, yeah, right, okay." I don't know how I didn't see that. I was like, "Yeah, hi."
That's very funny.
Yeah.
I got nothing like that. I'm boring.
This is weird.
Something that's helped with my posture with these chairs that we have both very similar ones of is getting rid of that head pillow, because it just pushes my neck forward. So if I actually want to have sit upright, I've got the pillow in the back for the lumbar because it's not inbuilt on this one. I take the pillow off and I just am fully back on this chair, and that helps.
See, I have the pillow as a neck pillow, and it forces my back to go straight against the chair, my neck to go forward, and my head to go back, which is...
Why do you want your neck to go forward? I don't think that's natural posture, is it?
It kind of... It is a little bit, in the sense that it kind of just supports a little bit. It's not like a straight line up and then it doesn't go all the way around. But it reminds me to sort of keep my head back, because otherwise, if I'm not sort of leaning against the pillow, I just won't even feel the pillow anyway, and I'll kind of just lean into my chair.
And I'm at risk of doing that with this too, where I just sit forward anyway. But yeah. Anyway, games and stuff, huh?
Games and stuff.
Hey everyone, this is recording a little later than our normal weekly schedule, as our previous weekly schedule landed us on Christmas Day, and we didn't want to record on Christmas Day.
No.
And then I was out of town for 2 or 3 days after that. Here we are.
We wouldn't have been able to anyway, because I got sick, and then you...
Oh, yeah, on the day you did, didn't you?
Yeah, and you were avoiding getting sick, and then went out of town. Yeah, it's a whole... Everybody knows how hectic Christmas is.
A fucked up 10 days, let me tell you that much.
Yeah.
I love sleeping on the futon and not my actual bed, tell you what. But point is, we're here to do the end of year content for the MiniMap cast. And this is what we call a bonus episode, because it's not our game of the year episode, despite what the graphic on the front says. No, it is the now annual MiniMap Awards, everybody. That's right. It's time to go through all of the award categories that I know that you're already thinking of, such as biggest bed pisser, or best thing from Jeremy's month of October. Is it him getting a fridge? With the amount of times I spoke about it, I sure hope it is. So look forward to that. That's the whole episode. We're going to go through all kinds of things, a lot of fun moments, a lot of fun things fun categories like Best Sidekick, Best Moment. You best believe we're talking about Armored Core 6 today. It's going to be a fun time. So for those of you who aren't aware, thank you for joining us. This is the MiniMapCast. We go live on all podcast platforms every Wednesday, usually, with 24 hours of early access given to our wonderful patrons. More on them in just a second. If you like what you're hearing, make sure to tell your friends, give the show a positive rating. Wherever you listen to us or watch us, it makes a huge difference. If you want to be notified when a new episode is released or when we start streaming for a recording session, you can follow us on social media. That is at MiniMapAU on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and also Twitch, where we are live every Monday night, except for right now and next week, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time for the live recording of the MiniMapCast. Yeah, it's good. We always hang out with the chat during and before and after. Also, if you wanted to find us on Blue Sky, we are there as well. It's just the website name, minimap.com.au. You'll find us there on Blue Sky. Yeah, we wanted to say thank you to Shook for letting us use the Moog Model D Improv as the music for the MiniMapCast. You can listen to more of Shook's music at shook.bandcamp.com. And finally, MiniMap is completely independent and funded almost entirely out of our own pockets. So if you'd like to help keep the mics and lights on, you can support us by becoming one of our patrons. For only $5 a month, you get 24 hours of early access for all episodes of the MiniMapCast, including some extra bonus features that Jeremy's cooking up. Aren't you, Jeremy? So just head on over to patreon.com/minimapau to help us out. And remember, what is it, Jeremy?
It is still much cheaper than a latte with oat milk.
Increasingly cheaper than a latte with oat milk.
Especially when you get it delivered like I did today.
Yeah. I saw you on your phone, which I don't mind because it's the intro and that's fine. Yeah, but I just couldn't help but throw to you and see how much you panicked.
I didn't panic at all. I just had to remember exactly what the words were. So I was looking at people complain about the Callisto Protocol on Twitter.
Why are people complaining? You know what? I don't care.
Just because some people finally got to it before the end of the year.
Oh, but it came out December last year.
Yeah, but like, I think that's within cutoff time of like, you know, I'm not going to talk about it this year. I might talk about it next year.
I guess. And then like jam it in at the end of the year, the next year is weird vibes.
Yeah, it is weird.
Well, we're not talking about Callisto Protocol today because neither of us played it. Also didn't come out this year. Yeah. But we are talking about games that did come out this year and games that we did play and games that we liked. Jeremy, like 10 points to you for spearheading this awards show today. It's been a messed up week on my end and I had very little headspace, but you've put together an excellent spread of categories for us today.
A charcuterie board of awards.
Cheese, olives, dips, and also
hors d'oeuvres.
Hors d'oeuvres, and also categories such as our first one, which is best. I can't believe this game came out this year. Game
one from last year. A returning award.
Oh, I thought you meant games. So I'm like, no, Jeremy.
Yeah. The Callisto Protocol. No.
No.
Yeah. So like, a bunch of these are ones that we did last year. We carried forth some of them because they're good, and then some new ones because, like, every year we'll have specific game-specific awards that are related to games that came out this year.
So we've got a couple of short. What am I trying to say? We've got a couple of front runners is what I think I was trying to say. A short list, front runners. Nominees is what the word I was looking for. And some of these are going to be like awards that are the definitive MiniMap award, like we decide on this and this is what MiniMap is giving, and some of this is just going to be here's what we think individually together at the same time.
Yeah.
And
we're going to decide.
This is one of those individual ones.
Yeah, this is. So I wrote down a couple, just off the top of the brain, of games that I can't believe they came out this year. Dead Island 2, for a whole host of reasons. Not just that I forgot that it came out this year, but also because I didn't know if that game was ever going to come out. based on its disappearance for like 6 or 7 years.
I'm looking it up. The reveal trailer was 2014 E3, so it's been 9.5 years since that trailer,
and it has been like in and out of THQ, Embracer. Like it was one of those games.
It was
lost.
THQ folded. Embracer resurrected THQ. Well, they were THQ.
Is it Deep Silver? Is that them? Yeah. So there's the whole host of reasons why that game took so long. But on top of that, the Goat Simulator 3 that was announced this year. Before
that was last year, wasn't it?
Oh, maybe it was last year. Goat Simulator 3, whenever it was announced doing
the send up.
Yeah, earlier in the week. That they did a send off of the Dead Island 2 trailer, which was really funny.
That was E3 last year. 18 months ago.
But then within 48 hours, Dead Island 2 was actually re-revealed.
Wasn't it like leaked? It was like heavily leaked on Amazon or something.
Maybe. Yeah. Anyway, that was quite funny. But yeah, so that's why I put
people
that on the list.
Freaked out for that Goat Simulator trailer. I'm like, this ain't it, everyone. Look at this. These are clay people.
It was very good. Forspoken, only because I forgot that game came out. Like I just completely forgot that game. Like and it's hard as well because like that's mostly just recency bias because that game came out.
That came out in January.
Yeah, like early Jan or.
And then the day after, Hi-Fi Rush came out and completely stole any chance of it having like a moment.
Yeah. And Exoprimal's another one, only because I just sort of forgot that game existed for a little while.
Yeah, totally.
But even though I don't think that game is actually bad, it's weird, but it's not bad.
We heard about it so much before release.
Yeah.
And then it was out, and now it's out.
Yeah. And the day before, only because game came out and then promptly uncame out.
That's the thing I can't believe the most is how quickly it stopped being out.
There's a whole lot of stuff happening there still. Like Steam automatically sent me my refund because my toner, the company that
like they were funding the development company or something.
I don't know. I don't know where or when or anything like that. But the company that was publishing the game spoke to Steam and said like, just refund everybody. And then it's shutting down its servers, I think, in a matter of weeks. But yeah, so those are my 4. I think my number 1, I think, would be the day before.
Yeah. I think so too. Just because of what you were telling me about it during the year as it was going, it's like, oh, this actually seems like maybe it's not real. And then it came out.
Yeah, but whatever it is not what we've seen up until now, because what came out was an extraction shooter.
Yes.
With the most bare bones of features. I'm not going to call them mechanics or loops, but like features. Interactions.
Bare bones code.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, congratulations the day before.
The winner of I can't believe this game came out in this year. Yeah.
Next up on the chopping block, Jeremy, do you want to read this out?
We have the Best Sidekick Award. Again, we have a whole. Well, I think this one we're going to go through a list of entries and we're going to whittle it down until what we decide is the annual MiniMap Best Sidekick Award.
MiniMap choice.
Yeah. So the list that we've written down is Torgal, the dog from Final Fantasy 16. Rusty from Armored Core 6, BD1 from Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
I bought that Lego set this week and
nice.
I'm very excited.
Hell yeah. Ashley from Resident Evil 4 Remake, and Alex Casey from Alan Wake 2.
It's funny because you said Sidekick and part of me is like, oh, but he's not Alan's Sidekick. And then I'm like, oh no, but he kind of, when Alan's in the dream world, he's walking in the footsteps of the Alex Casey novels he's written, and he like interacts with Alex, and he's constantly hearing Alex, and
he's also definitely Saga's sidekick.
Yes, 100%.
So it's good like that.
Yeah, that game's good. It's funny because I wrote down Ashley because like she's one of the most like definitely a sidekick on this list. You know what I mean? Like, but she's also one of the most infamous sidekicks in the gaming sphere from her original appearance from the original game in 05 because of how annoying most players found her.
Yeah.
I didn't hate her implementation in the new game.
No.
Like,
no.
And we knew that they were addressing that. They were going to address that critique directly. But
she did give me the funniest jump scare in the entire game by mistake, only because I told her to do a thing and she started to do it, which was like hold a door open or like hold something open for me. And then I accidentally left the area because I just wanted to go pick up something that I didn't pick up.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize she was going to stop the action that I'd given her. And so she started to follow me when I didn't realize. And then as I went to go back into the area that I came from, she like burst through the door, like just as I was getting close to it and scared the ever loving shit out of me. That was the scariest moment for that entire game for me, was Ashley just like jumping at me.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah.
BD1 is excellent.
It's great.
I think in Jedi Survivor, he was a bit sidelined. There was a lot of, like, when I went back to look at Fallen Order, look at some cutscenes before playing Survivor, I forgot how big a part of the story BD was, where his memories have been wiped and he's trying to remember what he can about Cordova, and through following Cal to these places, he unlocks these memories, including the memory of Cordova wiping his memory and him being okay with that, and like having to choose a new master, and like that, like really poignant and lovely stuff, and like repairing him and all of that. And he's the faithful, like ever loving, always cute, still cheeky companion, but he doesn't really get the spotlight at all in this game, and I think that's a shame.
Yeah, like I think it's fine in the sense that like I wasn't sitting here going like, oh, where's my BD1 side story? Only because like I didn't necessarily want more distraction from the main story, because I thought the main story was quite good, both of the two interacting stories that are happening. But yeah, like he doesn't really have a whole lot to do. He doesn't really have nearly any moments, I don't think. Lots of little ones. He's got,
they're all incidental.
He's got his little like vignette moments, and like you get like a couple upgrades for him here and there. But he doesn't have like a BD saves the day moment, aside from just like give you health in fight.
Well, like I would like to have a few more, like maybe Cal's dealing with some anger or something, and he has a whole one-sided conversation with BD. Like we didn't even really get that most of the time. He's just there.
Yeah.
Which I love. I love that he's there.
Yeah.
But like, I just want a little more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of the main cast members, aside from like one or two, aside from Seer and Cal, like all of the main cast members were kind of not sidelined, but they were definitely not the focus of Jedi Survivor.
I disagree, because a lot of the game was about like you go and you find Grease and what he's done recently, and then you go and you find Merrin, and then you go and you find Seer. Like
sure, but those aren't the threads, right? Like sorry, like those aren't the that's not the story. The story is definitely way more Bode and
Dagan, Gera.
Yeah, Dagan, and the Gendai. Like those are the three like forces in the story with Cal as well.
Oh yeah, those are the plot moments.
Yeah.
It's just the game spends a lot of time
getting the band back
giving
together.
Cal the time to reconnect with those core characters, which I think is good.
Sure. I think just for me that I Grease like almost didn't do anything in the game in my mind. And Merrin's kind of there to sort of give you a couple of powers, and then I don't really remember what she does after that.
I do a lot.
But like in terms of the important beats of that story is like Seer, Bode, and the High Republic fella.
Yep.
whose name again has also left my mind.
Dagon Gera.
It's so weird. I'm so good at Star Wars names, and for some reason, the ones from the game I can't put in my head. Like, I still call him like Wheezy because I can't remember Grease, and like I don't remember the Gendai's name. I remember
no, you don't.
No, I don't. What's the frog freak's name?
Yeah, the frog.
Torgal.
It's similar to Torgal. I think it's oh shit.
Yeah,
frog,
right. What is it?
Jedi Survivor. It's very similar to Torgal, but Torgal is the it's Turgle.
Turgle. Anyway, I think if you were leaning towards taking BD1 off the list, I think that's BD1 from Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, I don't think Turgle or Ashley I don't think BD1 or Ashley clear the bar for me.
Yeah. In terms of the other ones we've got. Like I think Ashley's fine in this game.
Yeah, no, she's fine. And like I really enjoyed her solo moment too.
Yeah. Yeah, like that sequence I thought was really good.
Yeah. She is quite passive, however. She doesn't do much.
Yeah.
I don't mind her as a character, I think, is the thing. Yeah. As a sidekick, she's whatever.
Yeah. Let's talk about Torgal.
Yeah, Torgal, the really, 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 really big wolf from Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah. It's a good dog.
Oh, great dog.
Yeah.
Great dog. Always there with you, always fighting, can fight, is very competent.
Yeah.
Gets even cooler later.
And like knows, like kind of like knows what's up a bit, like has got like, you know, like is a dog, but like I think like if you could speak dog, I think he'd be able to recount the story quite well. Like
that's a good point.
He kind of knows what's going on.
Yeah. There's a side quest you could do which ends up with you finding out a bit more about his lineage, and turns out he's descended from like an ancient frost wolf called Fenrir or something.
Yeah. Classic Final Fantasy.
But like he's meant to be like a descendant of like the wolves that were companions of the dominant of the ice area. And they were like, oh, maybe that's why he was drawn towards Sid when his masters were gone, and why he knew you so well when you came back and all of that. Which is like, oh, they give him a bit of stuff there. I think that's my biggest issue with Torgal is that like it's the same issue I have with so much of the story of this game, where there's no like the reuniting moment is like, did whoever wrote this scene must have a heart of stone, because like the dog walks up to Clive and it's just like, hi, and Clive's like, oh look, you're a big boy now. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You recognize each other after an instant, but also like you don't care. And it's just, and Sid's like, oh, he's your dog, is he? Oh well, you look after him now. It's like, what?
Yeah.
This is the most like tone deaf, emotionless thing I've ever seen in my life. Like,
yeah.
And then it's like that for like almost all of the game. Anyway, I love Torgal. Torgal's great, but like it's the same thing as BD. Like he's just there.
Yeah.
They don't give him anything. They don't like, he doesn't cry over you and you don't cry over him, and he doesn't save you from a thing and you don't save him from a thing.
Yeah.
Like he's just there.
Torgal is like your favorite like gun in Destiny.
Yeah. Old reliable.
Yeah. We should put Torgal under best weapon category.
Best weapon next to Invictus.
Yeah.
All right, I love Torgal, but like as a sidekick, he ain't all that.
Rusty and Alex Casey.
Who's Alex Kane?
I don't know. I think I tried to say
Michael's brother.
Yeah. Hello.
My name's Alex Kane.
Yeah. Let's talk about Rusty.
Yeah.
What a fucking guy.
Rusty is such a guy.
What a fucking sick dude.
He's one of the only people who sees you for what you are.
Yeah.
And also doesn't like talk to you like a piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even when he turns on you, spoilers.
Yeah. if you go down that route?
I think he turns on you first.
Oh, really?
He turns on you first no matter what. Yeah.
Ah, okay. I
always have to fight him.
I assumed if you go down the route that I didn't go down, that he's your mate. But I guess not.
No.
Yeah, right.
No, he is after if you go down that route.
Sure.
He turns up. He turns up in... Oh, well, okay. Everyone, Armored Core spoilers. Okay?
Yeah.
Rusty Armored Core spoilers, which honestly I would say are some of the most important spoilers of the game.
Yeah.
However, it's important for this discussion. Because when you make the big choice about whether you're going to side with like the Rubiconians / the Coral Air, or whether you side with the observers who want to destroy the Coral and burn it, Rusty turns up either way as either someone you fight or someone you fight with. And what's great about that moment, regardless of where he turns up in a souped up version of the suit that he had, of the mech that he was using prior, which was really spindly, really, really, really lightweight.
Yeah.
And then he turns up in this one that's still like reverse jointed, and he's still got he's low key, like really slim submachine gun, but he's bulked up now. He's got like angles. He's a bit more Gundam, and it's good. And that mission that you do with him when he fights alongside you is great. It's like the first time, because it's when you fight with him and you know what he's fighting for. He's not fighting for the Vespers. He's fighting for the RLF.
Yeah.
And he's there with it for you. And he's like, we take this guy out. Let's split up, and then you reconvene. And like that's such a great mission. But also he stabs you in the back. So
yeah.
It's hard to. It's a tricky one.
He is great though.
Yeah.
Like just overall, like, and it's funny because like
he's up there with Carla and Air and Walter.
Oh, I think he's just the top.
Wow.
I think he's just the coolest. Like, and like, don't get me wrong, like Walter is cool. Carla is really cool. Who's the head of the who's like that top dog, the guy that
V2 Snail of the Vespers.
No, not Snail. The other guy.
Gun One Michigan. Michigan's cool as hell. A lot of just cool characters in this game. But like, yeah, like, and they've all got mechs. You won't see them all in the first playthrough, but they're in there.
But yeah, like Rusty is like a From Soft all-timer, I think, for me.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Like, Rusty's like Solaire.
Rusty is Solaire. He is like, he's got the same level of importance.
Yeah.
Where it's like, he's not the main character.
No.
But like,
you see him pretty frequently.
And that's my fucking guy right there.
He's actually nice.
Yeah.
He's really helpful.
Yes.
He's interesting. He's got his own motivations. He'll turn on you potentially if you take the wrong path. Yeah, that's a really good analogy.
Yeah.
As the only thing keeping him from being as iconic as Solaire is like, it's so hard to remember their mechs as their like physical embodiment, because it's just like another AC, right?
Yeah.
But Solaire is like, oh, he's got that big Suncrest tunic and the helmet that you don't see anywhere else, and he's got his own emote and like
and he's got a catchphrase, like he's got meme ability in the sense that Rusty does not.
Yeah, totally.
But
Alex
cool.
Casey though.
He works on
all sides of Alex Casey. So many sides of Alex Casey.
So many layers to Alex Casey, the character, the actor.
I think the last time we were doing the show, Jeremy, we weren't sure whether James McCaffrey had actually died or not.
Yeah,
but
he did.
It turned out later on that he had passed away. The voice actor for Alex, which is terribly, terribly sad.
Yes. Yeah.
There's been a lot of too young deaths this month, I feel. Anyway, Alex Casey. Gameplay wise, terrible sidekick.
Yeah, just like disappears when you're in a fight, or rather, like
he's
just
actually
doesn't follow you into fights.
Only a story sidekick. You know what I mean? Like, he's only there in story as a sidekick.
Yes,
it's just actually very prominently.
Yes,
like constantly.
Yeah. Like he is like he's a Robin to Batman. Like he's there every scene, every other scene.
But then he's also like fucking was it Tony Todd or I don't know, pick your orphan.
Tony Todd.
Is that one of them? I don't know.
There's Jason Todd.
Jason Todd. He's fucking wait, but who am I really thinking of?
There's Dick Grayson.
Yeah, that's probably who I'm actually thinking of.
And there's
he's also the Dick Grayson to Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? Like he's
there's Tim Drake.
He's Alan's creation. He's Saga's boss, who then gave her the reins for this mission. But then he's real when Alex comes in, and he's not Alex's creation, but maybe he is because Alex wrote the script, and so maybe he only exists in this world because it was written by the Thing.
And it's also Sam Lake.
And it's also Sam Lake, and it's also James McCaffrey.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking cool.
Hard.
It is hard. They're both great, and they're both great for completely different reasons. I think I want to give it to Alex Casey.
I think I do too,
because I think he's got a bit more dimension to him.
And a bit more visibility.
Yeah, and like
which is a whole problem with Armored Core, right? Is that so much of its story and pathos is all delivered through audio, through like spoken dialogue while you're just fucking romping around.
And I think what they do with that, I think, is really great. Because
agreed.
It makes you feel isolated a lot. And
it nails the tone.
Totally.
Like the setting and the genre.
Yeah, and just like the just the vibes of all the different political factions and groups going against one another, and you don't see some for a while, and then you catch up with them, and things feel different with them because they've been moving and changing, and then need you for a different purpose, and so like you don't get a tremendous amount of Rusty. What you get of him is top tier shit.
And we'll talk about his biggest part of the game.
Yeah.
Later.
Yes. But
multiple times.
Yeah. But you get a lot of Alex. And it's like
it's kind of always great.
It's kind of always great. I am so excited whenever he's on the screen. Like I cannot tell you how thrilling it is to have him on the screen whenever he's there.
Yeah. All right, I'm set with that.
Yeah.
I'm happy to give best sidekick to Alex Casey.
Alex Casey, the best sidekick of 2023.
Oh man.
All right, Kerry.
So next up, our next award category is most likely to have a retrospective rehabilitation in 5 years. I love how much of a mouthful that is and how accurate it is too.
Yeah. It's the best game that people will kind of develop a cult following, I think, when one
actually
channel,
this wasn't so bad.
Yeah, some channel will make like a, the case for blank.
Yeah.
Like 16
and
years
then,
later.
Like 5 more channels will do it.
Yeah, and then it'll develop a weird resurgence.
Yeah.
So
you and I actually wrote down our answers for this separately. We could come up with a definitive answer, but what do you reckon?
So like I've got kind of two that I kind of want to settle on.
Okay.
Only because I have two reasons for both of them. But like you go through yours first, and then I'll go through mine.
So my first one, sort of similar to the first category, is Forspoken, and it's because I've already started to see a bit of a resurgence for that game in the last 2 or 3 months.
It's a really good pull.
There are some people who really enjoyed Frey's characterization, and seeing, when we were writing up this show, Jeremy, you said this game has this year in games has been a lot of dudes.
Yes.
Whether as the protagonist or as supporting characters, just in general, it's been a dude-heavy year.
Yes.
Forspoken was an excellent game when it came to representation of women, because you had a very strong lead woman character at the front of this game, which is great. I didn't vibe with her characterization. That writing was really polarizing in terms of how she was written. I didn't mind her in her actual setting. I just didn't like her that much when she was the fish out of water.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, the point is though that some people do really enjoy her characterization. But not only that, a lot of people also vibe with what I think was the best part of the game, which was the combat mechanics and the spells and abilities and powers you get, and how they all chain together. It was actually really there's a great sense of flow with that game, with the combat. And like, because what you've got like a starting like earth ability, and then you get a fire ability, and then pretty quickly you start getting like a water ability, and each one of those different abilities comes with an entire weapon wheel of different spells you can cast that each have their own individual cooldowns.
Right.
And so all of a sudden you're swapping, firing, and then back into your there's like, you've got your main combat ability. You've got an option of like 3 choices per weapon like element. And then you've got a secondary set of spells that's like a set of 8, and those are all on their own cooldowns. And so you're constantly like changing your main one for like long range, burst damage, shotgun kind of style. Also, I need to like lay a trap or put down a ring of fire around me, or this one's like a big whip, and like you're constantly engaged with that. And then you've got the slow-mo every time you bring up the weapon wheel, Ratchet and Clank style.
Yeah.
It really, really flowed really nicely. So there is stuff to enjoy there. It's just how long it will take for enough people to go through it and uncover that stuff and unbury it. They came out with DLC for that game too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was free, but I think it was a whole new boss, or maybe a whole new weapon element. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
So I could see that.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, and I also have started to already see that. So
yeah,
I know what you mean.
The other one I wrote is Diablo 4. Again, because we're already seeing that resurgence in a way. And you can look to Diablo 3 as like the template almost of like a really rough launch, and then 3 or 4 years later after core expansions, everyone's like, oh man, it's coming out on Switch. I can't wait for it. I need to get this. I need to get that. Cannot wait. But yeah, they've already started to sort of get the balance to feel a bit better, get the amount of times you're killing it, like number of enemies on screen, time to kill, like amount of loot, like they're continuing to dial those, and it does feel better than it did at launch. It's tricky because it's not like No Man's Sky, it wasn't an abject failure. It just wasn't the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, right. Do you have a pick of one between those two?
I think Diablo had never really fallen far enough from grace for it to really count, but I do think it will be better in the long run.
Right.
However, I think
that game will also get support is the thing.
Yes.
Whereas like Forspoken's
going to be it's like that first season of Firefly.
Do you mean,
where people loved it and then it got cancelled and it was like, oh, well, we'll never know.
So you mean the season of Firefly?
Exactly. Well, they came out with a movie. I should say
sure.
They did come out with a movie. But yeah, you're right about Forspoken. It's the thing of being like, is Final Fantasy 13 really that bad? Like it's going to be that same thing.
Yeah. So I've got 2 here, and I think that they both have the potential for this in their own specific ways. So, Crime Boss Rocket City.
That game's constantly getting updates.
It is constantly getting updates. Like they had a Christmas update, like a proper Christmas themed update recently.
Is Kim Basinger wearing clothes in this update?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I think that there's potential for that game to have a weird like, oh, this game did some interesting things, but it was fascinating seeing all these actors, and like there's going to be some weird, and like I don't know what it is yet because we're not 5 years in the future, so I don't know what little nugget they found inside of that game that goes like, actually, this was one of the best versions of a heist in this way that we hadn't seen in a long time. So there's potential for that. The other one is Skull Island: Rise of Kong, which is a complete mess of a game.
Complete shit show.
Buggy, poorly done, ugly. It's famously that game
memeable.
Memeable. It was that game where there was like JPEGs of like in the middle of cutscenes. Because they clearly didn't have enough time to finish it. What I think that this game might have its own rehabilitation is in the speedrunning community. Because I think this game hit a certain level of notoriety that enough people went out to buy it and play it because it was so poorly done. That I think that this game is the perfect storm of a speedrunning community going, actually, I wonder how fast I can get through that game. Because games don't have to be good to get into the speedrunning community and become a big thing. So I can see that happening in that space.
I remember, I think it was Alana Pierce looking at the publisher, and they've released a couple of stinkers this year, including that Walking Dead game that came out.
Yes, that really
Walking Dead Destinies.
Yeah.
But they're also the ones who publish that Nerf first-person shooter game that came out a couple of years ago, and then Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 1 and 2, the Nickelodeon Kart Racer games, the Cobra Kai game.
Yeah, so they primarily deal in licensed.
Yeah.
Licensed video games, which usually is pretty hit and miss.
Yeah, no kidding.
Unless you're Robocop, apparently. But like, yeah, I think that both of those have the potential, just in very different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the speedrun angle is a good one. I hadn't thought of that. I think I'm happy to leave that there without defining a one.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Where Are They Now award. This is a what's going on here? We haven't seen it for a while. Just where are you?
Where are you?
Yeah. So we have a couple here. We have returning contestant Skull and Bones.
Returning contestant.
Which we have a pretty good idea that game is coming soon.
Day after my birthday, apparently.
Yeah, right. There you go. Happy birthday, Gary.
Yeah, you get Skull and Bones.
You get Skull and Bones. That game is probably going to release early next year. I think
it's going to happen.
I can't see them pushing it again, but also, could you imagine if they did it again?
Look, I can, but at the same time, I can't. Like, I don't think it will, but I can see it.
I can see them pushing it like a month to be like, we just need just a little bit of extra time just to
yeah. They're running out of time. That game is due in 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah. Xbox Game Studios as a whole,
mate,
which we've spoken about to death, but it's worth including them in this.
Yeah, because they did Forza, they did Hi-Fi Rush, Minecraft Legends.
They got a lot of studios.
I got so many studios, man. What are they doing?
Metroid Prime 4. Now, we did see Metroid Prime 1 this year.
We did see Metroid Prime 1 this year.
But that's not Metroid Prime 4.
Let me see when they announced the restart.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a good headline from Game Rant. Metroid Prime 4 development was rebooted 3 years ago today. This was January 2022.
Yeah, right.
Which means that this coming January will be 5 years since we heard of them restarting development.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Whoa, I did not realize it had been that long.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The Nintendo Switch, the new Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Switch 2, whatever it'll be called, Super Nintendo Switch, hopefully.
Yeah, we've been getting rumblings, but
yeah, we'll see that next year. Inuma, what's his name?
Aonuma?
Yeah, said recently, he spoke to it in a very holistic way, the other day.
Right.
So it's coming. And Silksong, which the only thing we've heard about it recently was when we went to the Indie Game Symphony, and they had some Hollow Knight music there and showed off some part of the Silksong trailer.
Yeah, and everyone in the audience was like, "Ooh!"
Yeah. That was just everyone was looking at.
Are they debuting the new Silksong trailer in Hamer Hall?
And the answer was no, they were not.
Trailer.
Yeah. But they could have.
It was so I heard the intake of breath from 1,500 people simultaneously. It was amazing.
It's the equivalent of Keeley starting to talk about Final Fantasy and him going, no, DoorDash.
Yeah. I think if I had to give this to one, it would be Metroid Prime or Silksong.
I think I want to give it to Xbox.
Really?
In terms of like, it's like, where are you? Like, because Metroid Prime 4, I wasn't expecting it this year.
Yeah.
Skull and Bone got delayed to a null release date.
Right.
For a good long while
but then got one
later.
Yeah.
Switch 2,
we're pretty sure it's coming. We kind of know where it
is. Like, and we've heard it. Like, we can, I can visualize it soon. Silksong, I think, is coming next year. Because was it?
Team Cherry put out a statement.
Yeah, they put out that statement, which is no longer online, which is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I think it was because it was they put out a statement, but it was put out by through a developer's personal account. I think is why that's no longer up. I'm not reading into that in any like worrying way.
Hey gang, just a quick update about Silksong. We had planned to release in the first half of 2023, but development is still continuing. This was in May.
Yeah.
We're excited by how the game is shaping up. It's gotten quite big, so we want to take the time to make the game as good as we can. Expect more details from us once we get closer to release.
Yeah. Like, it's like they're just working on it. Like, that's just what they're doing. I think Where Are They Now is, like, for me, at least personally, we don't have to come up with a singular topic. We can come up with one each. A singular winner. We can come up with one each if you want. But, like, for me, I expected more from Xbox this year, and all I got because I expected more from them last year, and that is kind of cascading a bit. Because I expected more from them in 2021.
Yeah, they had that. That was that one where they got the ball rolling a little bit. Then they stopped chasing after it. And we're all like, kick the ball.
It's the the Greek mythological character that is rolling the ball up the hill.
Atlas, isn't it?
No, Atlas is holding the world.
Oh, you're right. Sisyphus.
Yes. Sisyphus is rolling the ball up the hill. This year, Sisyphus just sort of leant it against a rock for a little bit and had a break.
Yeah, Sisyphus found the right angle where he could like turn around and put his shoulders against it with the right lean so that like it's fine.
Yeah.
It's like, whew.
Sorry, this is so off.
Look, this mountain I've been climbing. Great views.
This is so off topic, but Andrew Brophy, who made Knuckle Sandwich, which is is a Australian developer. He's been making this game for like a long time. And it's sort of like,
I've never seen this. What is this?
Oh, really? This game is fucking sick. I'm so sad I didn't get to play this year. But like, he's been
Dang RPG. It's called.
It is so fucking good. He's been developing it for quite a while. And it's like a giant collection of mini games in like a larger game. It's like it's so good. It's so good.
Cool.
He tweeted when Knuckle Sandwich finally came out this year, a picture of Sisyphus with the rock just at the top of the mountain, just saying, "Yeah, now what?" like now what do I do?
Yeah, that's funny. It's got a bunch of awards. It's 74 on Metacritic.
It's so good. You should. It's also deeply Australian. You should definitely play it.
Yeah, I just saw a bubblegum Bubble Bill.
Yeah. Anyway, my personal winner for the Where Are They Now award is Xbox Game Studios.
Okay.
What is yours?
I think for me it's Metroid Prime. That statistic kind of took my breath away just now. That like in a month it will have been 5 years since we heard about it restarting.
Yeah.
Like, gun to my head, I would have told you that it was 5 years since the original announcement.
No,
but that fucking 5 years ago in 2 days when it turns to 2024. 5 years ago will mean 2019.
Yeah. that game was
That's not okay.
That game was
I know we did a whole like we're aging thing at the start of this year, but like that's not all right.
That game was officially announced in 2017
with Bayonetta.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Mm-hmm. Anyway. Metroid Prime 4 and Xbox Game Studios, where are they?
Congratulations. Where the hell are you? Come get your awards. We dare you.
Yeah.
All right. Next category, and then maybe we'll throw it to a break.
Yeah.
Depending how long we go on this one. Best weapon.
Best weapon of 2024.
Got a couple of runners, nominees.
Yeah.
We've got the Tears of the Kingdom Master Sword.
Mm-hmm.
Not the decayed version that you start with.
Well, I think overall that, like
the weapon itself.
Yeah, like the arc that weapon goes through is why I've put it in here. I think is
okay.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got more character than BD.
Yep.
From Resident Evil 4, we have the Stingray rifle, which is that more modernized rifle you can stick a scope on that's like a bit more rapid fire than the bolt action.
Mm-hmm.
That thing did do work.
Yeah.
We've got Invictus, which is Clive's story sword. That's his plot sword.
Yeah.
Which is one of the ones that looks the best when you charge up for fire and when he's like primed and half craggy. We've got Venom powers from Spider-Man 2, just in general. Basically all the Venom powers for Peter. They all rule. Like, I love that he's got the arms, like the mechanical arms too, which plot-wise apparently is his even retrofitting Octavius tech. But the Venom powers are so good. They're so violent. And you could do so much stuff with it that, like, they're incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And they feel great. Like, did you use the L3R3 Venom mode where you kind of like see black and you do way more damage and you do a bunch of like execution moves?
Yeah.
That rules in this game because it really looks like it hurts.
Yes. Yeah. Like it is so aggressive.
Yep.
And like legitimately a little bit like just like kind of like terrifying. In the way that I think that Venom story should be.
Yeah.
Like
totally.
it should be a thing that everybody's afraid of, including Peter.
Yep. And a strong contender for the category is the Ovid Rail Cannon, the ORC, piloted by one V4 Rusty of the Vespers in the Iceworm sortie. At the end of the third chapter in Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon.
Yeah.
And we're not done talking about this moment, so I won't talk about the whole moment, but let's just talk about the cannon.
The cannon. You don't see it.
You never see the cannon.
No.
You see a diagram of it, you hear talk of it.
Yeah.
And it's the only thing that can penetrate the defenses of this Iceworm coral weapon.
Yeah.
It is so big and powerful that they shoot it from another continent on the planet.
Yes.
And it lights up the sky like a sunrise.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
It's so powerful, it cuts out radio communication when Rusty powers it up past 100%.
It can go past 100%.
It can go past 100%. Also, piloted by Rusty, who is using it like a sniper rifle from another continent.
Yeah.
And then when it hits the worm, which it does without fail every time.
Yeah, he won't miss.
He doesn't. All sound cuts out. And then the worm fucking detonates with this glorious explosion of coral energy waves and shrapnel. It is unreal.
It is so fucking cool.
It beats out Stingray and Invictus.
I think it also beats out Venom powers.
I think so too, because the Venom powers become pretty like not only do they become your bread and butter, but also they're like clear replacements, and also they're in juxtaposition with Miles' powers.
Yes.
So they can't be more powerful than Miles' things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is the overed rail cannon better?
So
I'm talking about best weapon.
I just want to give the Stingray just its
give it its due,
which is just like when you get that, and then you have to fight like the giant guys with you got to shoot them in the like through the X-ray to find out where their weak spot is in their body.
Yeah, use that weapon. That would have been good.
I should
have had that weapon.
It was really good. And then storming the castle at the end of that game, and I'm just like, run, like bap, 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 and then keep going and bap, bap, bap. I was like,
that's so funny.
Felt good.
I think I tossed it before the end. I think I swapped it for like the automatic rifle you get towards the end. That's like hidden. You like find it by walking back through the Ashley section after she's taken at the end of that.
I do love the Stingray. It was very cool.
It sounds like it would have been more useful at the end if I'd hung on to it.
I mean, like that's that game is like, you know, like what do I want to take with me? What do I want to just like?
So many weapons.
There's a lot of weapons. Like the Magnum is another like all timer in that game.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of just really sick weapons.
Or that first machine gun you get. There's a lot of love for that first machine gun. Yeah. Like you get the bump stock for it, and
even like the SMG that you get is really useful at times because it just like melts baddies.
Yep.
And the Invictus is like really cool looking. It is like a classic.
It's a great design.
Yeah, it's a classic Final Fantasy like main protag weapon. It's not quite as iconic as maybe like Buster Sword or maybe Lightning's
Blade.
Yeah, Lightning's Blade. Or Squall's Gunblade. I think
the biggest knock against it is that you move on from it so quickly.
Yeah.
Like you're constantly swapping weapons in that game, and there are so many actually really cool looking weapons that like it gets really overshadowed really fast.
Yeah, which is a shame. Like I kind of wish that like this is maybe a bit dumb, but like I kind of wish as an icon you had it.
Oh yeah,
but he's got like an iconed version of it, and it's like recognizable, but like flamed, like something like that, like or maybe it becomes his tail or something. Like there's a way to work it into him just a little bit more, which doesn't make sense.
Like,
but like who cares?
Sticking out of his elbow is like one of his crags,
or his horn is it or something. It's cool. It's not cooler than the rail cannon. Neither's the Stingray. Neither's Venom powers.
Master Sword.
The Master Sword goes through like some awesome plot in this game. Like way more plot than it's had maybe since like Skyward Sword.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And also like it becomes one of the best versions of the sword that we've had in a long time. Like it was kind of good in Skyward Sword when you fully powered it up. Like it was cool. They've done a really good job in recent games of making the Master Sword impressive. They make it so long. I love how long the Master Sword is. But like it's still powerful, like, and it's not too heavy and all of that, and it's still got its grip. And
like it feels like the one from like Link to the Past or whatever, which is like when you break that down, that sword is far too big for how big Link is, but also like it works.
Totally. Like it is a long sword.
Yeah.
I love a glowing Master Sword, which this one does, especially when you're in the caverns, when you're in the depths. I love that you can fuse with it somehow, and like you pull it out and it's got like a hook on it, and then the hook fades and it's still the sword. I'm like, how does this work? I don't understand it. It's stronger now though. Woo!
Yeah. It's really cool.
It is really cool. Is it cooler than the Ovid Rail Cannon?
I think I'm going to remember the Master Sword more than I am the Rail Cannon. Because it is so integral to the plot of that game with like the nature of you finding it. If you've played the game, you know what we're talking about. Like it is
like how it is treated at the very start of the game.
Yeah.
How you have it for the opening plateau and then you lose it.
And going through the memories and finding out like it's like what it's been doing, where it's been, and why when you pick it up is where you pick it up. like that's pretty cool. We'll talk more about that as well in best moment.
Yeah.
But like for 1-to-1, it's hard. I'm happy with either.
You make a really good point that like the overed rail cannon is really cool, but and while we'll discuss more of it later, part of why it's so cool is because it's one piece of that entire moment.
Yeah.
It's the chatter of all the people you've been working for and against at the same time on the field with you, and them interacting with each other. It's Rusty talking from, again, another continent, I must stress. It's the worm, which is just a cool boss. It's the effect of it going down, the sound design, what Rusty says, the sound cutting out, it's the entire level is the thing, is the part of that. And the ORC is a big part of that. I'm happy to give the Master Sword its due.
All right, let's do that.
I'm looking at my Zelda amiibo for Tears of the Kingdom, because in the Breath of the Wild one, he doesn't have the Master Sword. He's just got a random shield, random sword. And I couldn't remember whether he did have it, but he does. He does have it in the Tears of the Kingdom amiibo.
Yeah.
Look at that long sword.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Zelda's the best, man. I love Zelda. All right. We're gonna, I reckon, quickly throw it to a break, because I think this next one we're gonna have words for.
Choice words.
Choice words. Stick around, everybody. Maybe grab a snack, and we'll be right back. I need a snack.
I am a snack.
Welcome back to the MiniMapCast. We've been on a roller coaster of a tangent. I don't even remember what we're doing here anymore. But we're here.
We're doing the MiniMap Awards, Kerry. The MiniMap Awards.
Right. And we have some choice words.
We do have some very choice words.
Guess what, everyone? It's time for the best category, biggest bed pisser.
In brackets, personal company. So when I wrote this, I
personal group who pissed the bed the best.
Yeah, basically. Like the worst, kind of the worst fuck up. And I want to be very clear. We're not talking about like games that came out that didn't do very well. We're not talking about people getting hacked. We're not talking about we're not punching down, basically. We're not talking about people who did that and then did it quite poorly. We're talking about people's more often than not in all of this, it's failures of capitalism more than almost anything else.
Pretty much, yeah.
Or failure of like leadership. It's one of the two. We've got a handful of things here, stuff that like we've spoken about quite recently in the year in review episode, but there's a handful of nominees here. We have Microsoft leaked its own internal documents showcasing the next 10 years of the Xbox.
I wrote that, and that still made me laugh hearing it out loud.
It's still quite funny. The Game Awards. PlayStation not supporting PSVR 2. All new hardware is so expensive. Price increases on console subscriptions. Only a handful of new releases. Live service games. Future in doubt. Unity and their just complete price restructure, failure, everything that happened there. Bungie's complete fluff and over expectance on return of Destiny,
of their acquisition.
Yeah, and the cause of that being a tremendous amount of layoffs.
And shitty work culture. Epic Games and Unreal's like Epic Games specifically's investment in Bandcamp, its sell off of Bandcamp, and its and the cause of that then like laying off like 10% of their staff or whatever it was. It's like 800 people.
A lot of people, like a lot of people. The day before, and embraces $2 billion failure, which has then caused a tremendous amount of job losses and studio
Strife.
and studio closures and Strife. Yes.
It's hard to pick a front runner for this.
It really is hard to pick a front runner. I think I'm going to start like taking some out.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea because like Microsoft and PlayStation in the grand scheme of things, like PlayStation's just kind of doing more of its own weird thing, but like they're fine here.
Like they're lost, but they're not like floundering, and they're not causing people to lose their livelihoods in a direct way in this sense.
No, although through the Insomniac leak, there is talk of them putting pressure on Insomniac to cut staff.
Yeah.
But Microsoft not releasing games, like
what? That's not on you.
Oh no, you're right. That's not what it is. But Microsoft leaking its own internal documents. Sorry, Microsoft leaking its own internal documents. That's actually pretty up there.
Yeah,
like it's not in like
in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. It's different to like 800 people lost their jobs.
Yeah.
Or what an ethical breach of whatever. It's like whoa, you fucked up.
And it's like, and it wouldn't have happened if they didn't pursue this acquisition, which, you know, obviously has worked for them, but there was a chance that it wasn't going to go through, and this all still happened.
Totally.
That would have been the clear winner. Imagine if they went through all of this only to not actually get the acquisition.
And then all that stuff leaked. Yeah, that would have been just a massive stinker. That would have been outrageous.
That might have been like... That might
have been it, I think.
Well, that might have been it for Spencer, potentially.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was definitely it for whoever hit go on those documents. I tell you what. Maybe.
I put the Game Awards in here because I think they fucked up with their awards as they always do. But
it wasn't just as they always do. It was more so than they have before.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think they are the winner here.
No, I don't think so.
I wanted to say that because like in their metrics, they have succeeded. So I think we have to get rid of them off the list. The day before, it's hard to know how much of it is part of their plan and how much of this they knew ahead of time. Plan sounds malicious. Part of their expected results for a lot of this stuff.
Also, at the end of the day, it's like a game from a studio you've not really heard that much from before. Like,
yeah, it's weird. The whole thing is just very strange. But
it's a great story, and it's like an interesting whatever. On the scale of Microsoft and Unity and Bungie and Epic,
it's not
an Embracer.
It's not the same level as a bed piss.
No.
I think for me, it's Embracer.
Embracer's $2 billion funding deal going sideways. The Saudi group pulling out, and
because this was like, because that is bad money. Like that is evil money. All money is evil, but like that money is evil money. And so
totally. I think we spoke about this last episode where it's like that money is like journalist killing money.
Yeah, that's blood money. So for them to go for that, and then
they pulled out, and it bit them in the ass so hard.
Yeah, like that being their stake, and it just fucking up.
It's also the thing of like, it's been quite easy for people on the outside of the company, on the like people like us, pundits and journalists and navel gazers, to look at Embracer's announcements each month when they buy up the rights to Lord of the Rings and purchase Crystal Dynamics and Eidos, and then close Square Enix Montreal, who like 3 weeks after they rebranded, like looking at all of them, all of those decisions in turn. There's so many of them over all of these years, like talking about Deep Silver and THQ Nordic and what they've put out and what they haven't put out. And it's been very easy to look at it and say, what's the plan here? I don't see this going well. Resurrecting THQ Nordic after they so publicly and famously crashed and burned for having too many middling titles that went nowhere, and releasing a bunch more middling titles that don't go anywhere, and some other good things in there too. I'm not trying to shit on people's work.
Just a smorgasbord of everything is the thing.
Yeah.
There was no focus or directive here. It was make enough money to make more money.
Make enough money to buy something that will then add to your coffers so that you can buy more things, so that will add to your coffers so you can buy more things. It's just a bizarre strategy because it leaves you no room to really care about the results of the companies. It's not about it's barely even about if they release a good product or not. It's just about if they stay afloat and release something that keeps some money rolling in.
Yeah.
And the tragic thing is, it's a bit like, oh, are these companies going to see the return on their work? Are they going to be drowned out by all the other stuff Embracer is putting out or all of that? It didn't even come down to that in the end, because the reason why all of these studios are being closed or all of these studios are having massive staff reduction is because Embracer, the company holding all of the other parent companies that hold all the other developers and publishers, fucked up so badly. And maybe Saudi played them, but maybe you shouldn't be going in to do a deal with Saudi Arabia in the first place.
Yes. Yes. And on top of that shouldn't it is so irresponsible.
Yes.
For you to continually buy companies to inflate your evaluation in the hope that this money will come in, and then suddenly the moment it's not going to come in, you can't maintain that. That is growth mindset level shit. And it is
beyond growth mindset level, it's just poor financials.
Yeah.
Anyone who starts dealing with more than $1,000, I feel like it instantly becomes well, I can't spend all of this $1,000 on a TV right now because then I won't be able to buy food. Okay, so then it's got to be, okay, maybe I could spend $500 on a TV and then I can also buy food and then save a little bit in case I get hit by a bus. Yeah. You know what I mean? What was the plan here? You know what I mean? You need food money, TV money, and bus money. Both ways.
Oh, and they got hit by a bus. This is the thing.
A bus that they bought a ticket for.
It's the bus they hailed.
Yeah, exactly.
They hailed the bus and then
the bus pulled over to collect them and then ran them over.
And they stood in front of it. Oh, shit. Anyway.
It's like the bus... Sorry, I just love this analogy. It's like the bus purposefully pulled over to make it look like it was going to pick them up, but instead of stopping, sped up through a gigantic puddle.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. One of the things. Yeah. It's one of my grandparents years and years and years ago. Just before she stopped driving.
Hit by a bus?
No, just before she stopped driving, she got into a very minor car accident, very minor,
right.
And not with anyone else. But she hit something
like a bollard or something.
No, not even that. What she said is she got into the car and she was pulling away from the driveway, and the way she described it was that the back fence started to get a little bit closer, so she put her foot on the wrong pedal and the fence got much closer.
Sent it, yeah, yeah, totally.
And that's kind of the similar thing. I think it's Embracer for me.
Yeah, the thing with it is that it's had such
ongoing
demonstrable ripple effects.
Yes,
exactly. And we've really seen those play out in the last month, especially with the Time Crisis studio going, just closing, more studios as well. I'm struggling to remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
So many.
That's the thing. It's just been so many. And if it isn't been studio closure, it's been massive reduction in the workforce. The fact that you bought a company that needed years to get a product off the ground and whatever deal you brought was so bad that they didn't even get the chance to release a trailer more than a press release for what they were working on before you had to close them again. Like, that's a shit thing to do to the people that are under your responsibility, that they were under your charge, like on a human level, let alone just a just a fucking bad idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, to then engage in deals so well, poorly.
Yeah, like, yeah, yes.
That they go so badly for all of the people under your employ. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're right. Congratulations, Embracer. You were the biggest bed pisser of the year this year.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, you had some competition.
Yeah, you had some company. You're not alone up
so
there.
So many wet beds.
Yeah, yeah.
What's our next one, Jeremy?
The best moment of 2023. This is a big one.
Yeah, it is. And it's a stacked category, too.
This is a year full of big moments. So, just a quick warning. There will be some spoilers in here. As we go through the list, I'm going to list them all. If you're not familiar with one of these and it's something that you want to play, just skip the category. Because like we'll be talking in no uncertain terms about nearly all of these. One of these I'm gonna have to just be lightly touching because Kerry doesn't know what it is.
Yeah,
yet.
I'm wondering if maybe I skip out on that section and you talk about its merits.
No, because I don't have to talk about its merits in detail, but I can talk about it holistically, and then when you get to it, you'll know what I'm talking about eventually.
So what are the nominees?
Alan Wake 2's musical moment. Armored Core 6, the Iceworm fight, which we spoke about earlier. Armored Core 6 beating Bolteus for the first time, which is the first major boss fight.
Also, we should, I don't know, it's also, Bolteus got nerfed?
Oh, I did hear about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
Who cares? The first icon fight in Final Fantasy 16, the Bahamut icon fight in Final Fantasy 16, diving into the depths for the first time in Tears of the Kingdom, the very final moment in Tears of the Kingdom.
Parentheses, spoilers, it says here. This is
spoilers.
the bit I'm unfamiliar with.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the Mining Spider set piece. And Ghost Runner 2's motorcycle riding through gigantic drill worm. Fuck, I gotta get to this game.
I knew you'd like that.
I was reading that like a teleprompter that I've for a script I didn't realize, and that's exciting.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
I really got to get to that fucking game at some point.
It's so fucking cool.
Yeah,
Jeremy.
I know.
It's not even my favorite part of that game.
Yeah, I know. And I do want to also add in here, just because I forgot to write it down. It's like obtaining the Master Sword.
Oh yeah, I did wonder about that. Yeah.
From obviously Tears of the Kingdom. These are obviously not the only great moments in the video games that came out this year. We were talking just before we started, like how like is there any moments from Resident Evil 4 that we want to put in here? And it's like that whole game is kind of full of really awesome small moments, so we couldn't even think of one to put in there because there's so many great smaller ones. Baldur's Gate 3 is obviously full of an infinite amount of them, like fucking a bear or kicking a squirrel. There's a lot of awesome moments through in many video games this year, but these are a list that we have to work off. I wanna talk about the Final Fantasy 16 ones first because I want to start whittling down.
Yeah, that's the thing. We need to whittle this down because this is like 10 entrants.
Yeah. Let's whittle them down to one from each game first, and then see how we go.
Great, love it.
Final Fantasy 16, 2 icon fights. Can you remind me what the Bahamut one is?
You didn't play it.
Okay. You
didn't get to it.
Can you set the scene? Which one's Bahamut?
Bahamut is the dragon, but in terms of the dominant is the prince with the spear,
right?
Who's part of the empire, who's got a dad who's a piece of shit.
What's the Bahamut look like in this?
Big stony dragon that shoots a lot of lasers.
Cool.
It's this cool thing where
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I would just click through. It's also this moment where like Clive fuses his icon with another icon.
Cool.
And so he can fly, so he can fight Bahamut in the sky above this crystal city that like opens up and creates this crystalline holographic glowing arena in the sky, and it's lasers and it's shields and it's so cool. It's so cool. And like, yeah, and I should point out as well, this game's biggest moments are all of the icon fights.
Yes.
I could replace some of Bahamut. I could replace the Bahamut fight with the one that came before it, or many that came after. But the Bahamut one for me left the biggest impact at the time and during and since. It's amazing, and all of them are such showcases of particle effects and cinematic moments, like great implementations of QuickTime events in this game, like where it's a QuickTime event, but it doesn't matter because it's so fucking cool. The music's great. This is one of the only times where I felt the story really backed up the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh wow, they're going to space.
Yeah, man.
they are just above a planet.
Yep. It's really cool.
Yeah, right. This is very cool.
And like so many of them are like that. The one before it is very unique and very different and also very cool, but this one spoke to me.
Is this cool? And like and I wanna push this just a little bit, only because I think because we both played the demo for 16 before the game came out. And so
yeah,
when 16 came out, again, some of the demo stuff that you had to either redo if you had to redo the demo content or skipped, I think can feel a little bit maybe lost in our perception of the game because it happened way earlier than the rest of the game.
Totally.
And the very first icon fight, which is the Phoenix fight, the very beginning of the game is the final section of the demo. And you are like throwing like each other around in this giant open
like crypt.
Yeah, like Hollow Earth like fucking Legend of Zelda depths section.
Yeah, totally.
It is huge. And
it's also getting fucking demolished.
Yeah. Like you are like Dragon Ball Zing this entire fucking area. It is really cool. And so I do want to push, is it cooler than that being the first icon fight that you get? Because that is a really cool fight. Like that might be my favorite like fight of that game that I saw.
Yeah.
But it was difficult as well because we did play that prior to the game coming out, and I think you had to redo the demo.
I played it like 4 times.
Yeah, you had to redo it, and so maybe it got a little bit like done for you, or a little bit trite because you had to do it so many times.
Maybe. I also felt at the time it was very on rails because you're just playing Phoenix. You can't control where you're moving. You just kind of, it's like a Star Fox section.
Yes.
And that's not inherently bad, but I did get to enjoy actually controlling Ifrit later in the game and that playing out like a game.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in the Bahamut fight. It also gives you a bit of that same story payoff that you're getting in that first icon fight that I feel like you missed from the ones in the middle. Where it felt a bit less important or a bit less.
You don't super know what's going on at that point.
Totally. So I personally, I think it sits higher for me, but I understand why it might sit higher for you.
I mean, like
they're toss-ups.
I didn't get to this, so I'm happy just to leave that in your judgment as someone who did get to both of these. Which one would be higher?
I think it is just like objectively cooler.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is cool though. All the icon fights are amazing in this game, and I'm pretty sure they built this game around these fights.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they were like, let's make this happen. How do we make this happen? And then the rest of the game came from there.
Yeah, nice. All right, cool.
All
so we're taking off the Phoenix fight. Let's go into the Armored Core 6 moments. So we've spoken a bit about the Iceworm fight from in the best weapon category, and also partly in the best sidekick category. So we're about beating Bolteus for the first time.
what a moment, man. Maybe one of the best. No, it's this part of the game has the strongest song in the game's entire soundtrack, which is saying something. It's also an excellent capstone for a really decent introduction to this game's tone and style. It's also such a definitive hurdle, and I've really grown to love a FromSoft hurdle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they are lessons. They are exams. It is like we've been teaching you everything you need to know up until this point, and now it is time for you to prove that you've been paying attention.
Yep, exactly. And like some people just won't do it because you can kind of not know what you're doing and get through the start of that game because there's a lot that's going on. It's easy to not know what you're doing. Yeah. It's not a knock on anyone. It's quite a technical game. And Balteus is such a bastard, such a brick in the wall. He's a mech covered in suspended in an apparatus that has an array of hundreds of missiles that fire at you all at once and have ridiculously good tracking. So it's hard to know how to counter that. And then it also has that incredibly overpowered shield that's really hard to break through. And then if you get Balteus down to half health, he says, all right, game on. Here's my chain gun and also my flamethrower sword, which will reach you from halfway across the map and annihilate you in a second. He's so fast.
He is very fast.
He's so hard to nail down. He's so hard to break through. Even if you do break through, how do you do the damage? How do you break through without losing all your ammo? Like, it is exactly as you said, it's such an exam. It is a task that you have to complete. You have to understand what is being asked of you.
And it's also got that FromSoft thing of like pure elation when you get it. Like you know that you did it right.
Yep.
Because like unless you know how to cheese a boss like that, it's like Father Gascoigne. Like you know, like they put a lot of work into those ones to make you like to make them versatile, but also to make sure that like when you get it, you sort of had to know what you were doing.
Yeah, they're very specific. I remember in one of the final boss fights, there's so many, but the Rufus fight in Final Fantasy VII Remake, I remember I beat that boss and thinking to myself, I was getting fucked up by this guy and I just kind of brute forced it with potions. And that actually annoyed me so much that I quit the game and restart from that checkpoint so I could do it again. Because I didn't get it. I didn't understand what happened.
Yeah.
There was no moment like this in this game really past Balteus. It was me learning, it was me adapting, changing my loadout, changing changing tactics, like adapting and adapting and adapting. It was such a strong moment.
Is the moment stronger than the Ice Worm rail cannon?
I don't know, Jeremy. Because I think the Balteus moment is I think that's it. Like in terms of gameplay, it's not as strong. Personally, it is quite strong. The Ice Worm fight isn't that big of a challenge. That's not a hurdle. It's not the personal sense of satisfaction. It is just such a moment in time in the game and a story that they tell through gameplay, story, design, sound, like it's all of it. It's the game all together at once, harmonizing with the build up in the missions leading up to it.
Yeah, like it's like who's the first boss in Stormvale Castle?
Margit.
Like Margit is Balteus, but
and Margit's my favorite boss in Elden Ring.
Yeah, but Godric is a moment. You know, he rips off a dragon head, shoves his hand through it, starts breathing fire. That's a fucking moment, right? Like they and like FromSoft has their exams, but they have their moments. You know, Father Gascoigne is an exam, as is the Bloodstarved Beast, or whatever the first
Cleric Beast.
Cleric Beast, sorry. But Rom the Vacuous Spider, that is a moment in Bloodborne. They have their moments, but they have their exams. We're not doing best exam. We're doing best moment. I think.
That's the thing. It's a personal moment. Beating those hurdles is a personal moment.
Totally.
And that's great that a game can give you that. But in terms of what the game presents to you, the ice worm fight is stronger.
It is.
I love you, Beltaeus.
Let's talk about Zelda. We've got 3 here. We have.
Oh wow! Oh shit! Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Diving into the depths for the first time. Obtaining the Master Sword. Unreal. Obtaining the Master Sword and the very final moment.
All right.
Let's talk about the first 2 first.
Okay.
Going into the depths the first time was
Jeremy. When did you dive into the depths for the first time?
About 15 minutes after getting to the overworld.
Okay, cool. Me too.
Yeah.
I was thinking earlier today when we were getting this ready how our friend Ollie didn't go into the depths until he did the fire temple, which is like in the depths.
Yeah.
And he was then so amazed that there was a whole temple down there that he was then disappointed at the rest of the depths because it wasn't all like that.
Yeah.
Because he spent like dozens of hours in the overworld first, or at least a dozen, before going down there.
I have a friend who is done 4 temples and has been into the depths once or anytime like they get forced to go down there, and they're like, I don't like it down there.
Oh wow, yeah.
This was, I think like this was cool. I don't think this is my favorite moment from this game. I think it's my favorite aspect of the game eventually, but I think the thing is, I didn't actually comprehend it immediately. Because you don't see it.
So what was it like when you were?
I was like, this like I was like, is this just this area or something? I didn't immediately realize that it is the entire overworld because what the fuck?
Even when you did the first light route?
Well, like so here's why I didn't think it was the first. I didn't think it was the entire area, because when I first went into the depths of Elden Ring, I thought it was the whole map, and I freaked out.
Oh, in Elden Ring.
Yeah. I thought it was the whole map in Elden Ring.
Which it's not. It's like 3 sub areas.
Yes. But then I thought that was the same thing in Zelda. I just thought it was a large sub area.
So maybe it's a little pocket around each chasm or something.
Yeah, or like you know, like some streak in here and then another area around or something. I didn't comprehend how big it was at that point. It was really cool and exciting, but I didn't immediately grasp what I was doing.
You see, for me, I remember fucking around because there's that really big one before you get to Lookout Landing.
Yes.
But you don't have the paraglider yet.
No.
So I think that they must void you out. I didn't even jump in there. I was like, because the chasms are scary. Yeah. Like they're scary to look at. They're scary to even think about going down into, and they look entirely unfathomable. So I didn't even consider it. I just spoke to the person who's like, "Oh, don't stand in gloom," and I did the shrine and potted around and then fucked off. But then I came back and I was looking and there's someone standing over the edge being like, "Oh, the survey team's gone down there." I'm like, "What?" And you dive in and Link dives.
And the music starts to go like,
oh, yes. Yeah. And you dive and you dive and you dive and you dive. Like, and I think for me, I did realize that was something of a, like, even if it was just pockets, like in the same way that there's some islands and then whatever, like I didn't realize it was the whole map either. Or it's like mirrored perspective.
Yeah.
But it felt really large, really, really large when I went down there. And that feeling of, oh my God, they never even talked about this. No one knows this is here.
Yeah.
And it's here. It's such a big part of that game.
Yeah.
It was such an awesome reveal. I don't know, man. It sits pretty highly for me. I think it sits higher than getting the Master Sword for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which we should talk about.
Yeah. Like that moment it's the most story heavy moment in the game, I think, in terms of like cutscenes and characters and plot threads and actual answers. Like you get quite a lot of the story from that part. You have to do a bunch of stuff to obtain that whole story. But then once you do, you do get a legitimate payoff from that thread, which you tend not to get in Zelda games. Or at least the modern
definitely not in
ones.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, definitely not in Breath of the Wild. Or realistically, Tears of the Kingdom. But like, it's that is like a standout moment for story stuff. And I think the flip side of it being it's not stamina in Tears of the Kingdom. Sorry, no, it's not stamina in Tears of the Kingdom like it is Breath of the Wild, where you got to like hold down and enough stamina bars get it. It's hearts in this, so you got to the other way around. The other way around. It's you have to get enough stamina to pull it out, whereas in Breath of the Wild it's about hearts, which I thought was a nice flip.
Especially because you do the hearts thing on the plateau to like open the door to jump off.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool that was there and then done with, and then this is a different check.
But like the recontextualization of like spoilers for this part of Tears of the Kingdom, like there she is,
the light dragon.
There she is, the whole game,
and
without
the
you
light
realizing.
dragon's yellow hair.
And it looks like her. And the sword has been there the whole time, and you could kind of see it earlier. And there's fun stuff.
And also, like even one step before that, like even finding out where the Master Sword is, you have to go to the Sacred Forest and free the Deku Tree from the monster that's like killing it from the inside.
Yeah.
Like that's such a classic Zelda thing.
Yes.
But also, it's done really well in this. And then he shows you where the sword is. He's like, "Oh, it's moving. What's up with that?" And it's on a brand new dragon.
Yes. And on top of that as well, like the idea that the sword has been charging for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Like in Zelda's head.
Yep.
Is like that's kind of neat. That's a kind of a neat way to get a really strong weapon, is to have the person that got sent back in time provide it for you and give you the clues to getting it when you need it the most.
Yep.
That's fun. I think that's very cool. I think the final moment is it for me. And
really? Even although you weren't in love with the ending of this game.
Yeah, the ending of this game is almost absent. But there's a final moment which is really good. It's really good. And it's kind of a softball. Like it's a layup.
Okay.
It's like but it hits.
Yeah.
It's a pretty easy goal that they score at the end of it, but like they still hit the goal and it hits pretty hard.
Okay. And you think that tops both of these two?
For me, yes.
Wow.
That's
gonna be this will be like the Bahamut fight for me. I'll have to take your word for it.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I'm happy to do that.
Okay. All right. We'll leave that it for Zelda then. Then it's currently the final moment.
Okay.
Talk to me about Ghost Runner 2.
So you play a cyborg ninja in this game and you go fast and you kill things and you can't take a hit once. Right?
Oh man, this game's so good.
It's so good.
Oh man.
And then and it's set in this cyberpunk realm, but it's on Earth where there's only like one vestige of humanity left, and it's this gigantic tower in the sky that is so wide and big it's a city. It's this city tower.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first game, you're always in the tower, and in the second game so far, you're always in the tower until you get a motorcycle. And then you ride the motorcycle down the exterior wall of the tower, and that's your introduction to the motorcycle. Oh, no, that's the second introduction to the motorcycle after you like ride it on freeways to make it out the exit in time. And so then there's this whole motorcycle level that's really long. And it's fine, it's good. There's 2 or 3 motorcycle levels.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do this one really long one. And then you finish it and it shows you your time and your deaths. And you're like, cool, next level. And then there's a fucking gigantic sandworm that's like a drill mechanism that's as big as like a fucking huge gigantic thing. And I want to stress that the team that made this game, One More Level, they're good, but I would call this pretty comfortably a AA game.
Yeah.
And so like this is a really bombastic set piece that you could see where maybe the corners are being cut, like some of the edges of the worm kind of just blend into the side of the geometry. Like they didn't animate like crushing through the wall there, and it just kind of goes through a couple of rough edges here and there, and it doesn't fucking matter because it's so fucking cool. And then of course you ride through it, you go into its mouth, and then it's like it's so big, it's like you spend like 2 or 3 or 4 minutes like motorcycle platforming in there, and it's got like spider bug like defense systems that like crawl down the walls and come to get you, and so you got to make sure you're shooting them because the gun's got turrets, by the way. And like also there's lasers, so you got to jump off and snap onto and like grapple back onto the motorbike, so you jump over the lasers and the motorbike goes through it, and then you attach back onto it, and then you keep going. And the way you break through it is by going out the other end, right?
Yeah.
And that's what destroys the worm. It's just such an amazing set piece moment. And like I said, it's not even my favorite moment of the game. But I didn't want to spoil it because it's a mechanics thing.
Sure.
It's like a joy and freedom of mechanic kind of moment that you only get through playing it. I feel like it's only as special as it is through the ending, and this sits pretty highly alongside it.
I'm gonna ask you a question that you're not gonna want to answer.
Okay.
Which is the better giant robot worm?
It's the ice worm.
It's the ice worm. Okay, because we do need to we need to continue to cull. So
that's fine.
I wanted to put the two closest things together against each other.
Honestly, I think they're all. Well, maybe I think almost all of them are going to have to go up against the ice worm. Yeah. So like that's fair. And like it makes a great run for it. It does a great job of what it puts on offer.
I'm excited to get to that game.
Yeah, totally. That'd be a great one for January, I reckon. That'd be really nice it's like 12 hours.
Yeah.
Really kinetic, really fun.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the mining spider set piece. I wrote this down, and you were like, why are you writing that down? I'm like, I thought it was great. And you're like,
Yeah. Well, you talk to it first, and I'll say what my experience was, and then and then I'll take it off the list.
Yeah, we will. I was like, so you're on Jeddah, and Merrin gives you this new power, this new one of her witch spells where you've learned how to air dash, but now if you air dash, you kind of teleport, and it allows you to burst through these green force fields. And just as she gives you that, this Imperial mining spider that's destroying the temple that you're in cracks it through the roof. It finds you, and you have to zip and boost and dash around.
It's more of a squid than a spider.
If it's on the ground, it's not in the air.
Yeah, but like it looks like a squid because it's like then it's got like tentacles.
It doesn't fly through the air though, like it's like a squid would swim.
No, but the
crawls.
Yeah, but it like I don't know. I'm used to it attacking. I'm very familiar with when it attacked Camino, and they launched out of the ocean, and they wrapped themselves around like the.
I didn't realize that was lore, that piece of machine. I didn't realize that was an older piece of machinery. That's funny.
Yep.
So yeah, you're doing this thing, and all of a sudden the traversal feels very Celeste-like because you've got this air dash that recharges when you go through the right thing, and you're wall running and air jumping and flying, and then into portals that then go like, and then it spits you out the other side, and the thing almost gets you, and then you go into another portal, and then you land on this thing, and Merrin grabs it with her powers, and you grab it with the Force, and you fucking obliterate it right as it's about to obliterate you, and it's this big moment, and it's so cool. I'm like, whoa, this is just the middle of the game. What the fuck?
Oh, this thing does fly like a squid through the air.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it goes like head first, and then its tentacles kind of follow.
Oh, okay. Pardon me. I just remember thinking it was such a big moment, such a huge moment, and I do think it felt really good. And it was when the traversal felt its best for me because it was that go, 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 go. You're dashing into the force field to dash again, to reach the wall, to jump, to hit the other wall, to jump into a portal, to then dash out of it. To like, it was all of that. It was constant. And it really worked for me.
Yeah.
Jeremy?
It didn't work for me.
Oh, really? What's that?
Like only because it like I think that this was the best attempt at their own like Uncharted giant set piece thing, and I think
totally, especially because the end of the game wasn't about moments like this, which
totally.
I loved.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that like this is still so far and ahead better than every one in the previous game. But like, oftentimes I was dashing and I would miss a portal, or I would throw my grappling hook and it wouldn't quite do it, and then I would wall run and I wouldn't have enough time to get to the end of the wall run before he started to dip, and I had to try and jump, and it was too... Anyway, like the game did not hold up to it doing this moment well enough for me all the way that it became a little bit annoying. Even though I think it is cool, like it's a really cool moment. Because like it's a great time for the moment in the game. It teaches you some new mechanics. It's fun with Marin. It's a cool Clone Wars robot, which we love. And it's also like in an environment that we haven't seen it before, on a planet that we know, but again, haven't seen like this. Like there's a whole host of reasons why this all works together, even though functionally in my game, it didn't work. It is cool. It is cool. I just wish it was in, again, a game that allowed it to really, really thrive.
Didn't leave the door open for that frustration.
But,
all right, well, see ya, mining squid.
Yeah. Even if it did work, there's some good moments this year.
That's the thing. Like it's worth saying. I think everything on here is on here for a reason.
Yeah.
Like we're not putting anything in here charitably. I don't think the things that are here are genuinely great moments. From this year.
They deserve to be to be celebrated.
Exactly.
Speaking of celebrations, Alan Wake 2 has got a moment. It's got a lot of moments.
It does have a lot of moments, but this is the one that everyone was talking about.
Yeah, and like for reasons being like, one, it is such a standout moment, and two, it is early enough that most people have seen it. There are still more moments to come, as everyone has said, but this is a moment that was able to be celebrated considering how early it is. It is the Herald of Darkness fight. I think I wrote Hero of Light.
You did. Because at the start they say Champion of Light.
Champion of Light. That's what I was trying to remember. Hero of Light's a Final Fantasy thing.
Or a Bionicle thing.
Yeah, Mask of Light. It's the musical moment in Alan Wake 2, where Alan Wake is revisiting one of an episode of the talk show with Mr. Dorr, and then he goes in and it becomes a giant live action FMV integrated in the game in a way that it isn't in the rest of the game moment of a live action musical performance on stage featuring all of the main characters from Alan Wake's town, basically, aside from Saga.
Plus the old gods of Asgard.
Yes, of course, and the old gods of Asgard are there. The twins are there as well, just there.
What?
Aren't they there? Aren't they also like pointing you? No.
No.
Okay.
No. It's you. Rather, it's Alan. It's Alex. It's Mr. Wallendor.
Yeah.
And it's the band.
Right.
And then after that, it's all of the shadow people and the people in onesies and outfits.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
This movement's are fucking good.
It is really good. And like it washed over me a bit the first time I played it. I'm like, oh, that was fun. That was really cool. Yeah. I really like the song. Yeah, that's neat. And then I played it again to show Sam.
Is the janitor in that sequence?
He's not he's at the very end when you snap back to reality.
Oh,
and he's out in the audience and he's there mopping the carpet, which is weird, and singing the song, like humming it to himself, like loosely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Yeah.
If I wish Sean Ashmore was in it a bit. That would have been fun. Yeah, this playing it again and then seeing the Game Awards live performance they did, which was excellent. One of the best things to come out of that show.
Yeah.
And then listening to the song more after that and playing it again, like they got me in a bit of a moment there. That whole like chain of events.
Yeah.
It's really special in a number of ways. Like for example, the way you're playing as Alan, so you're in game world, and you're walking through this never-ending backstage theater sort of scenario. Like it's exposed, it's video walls, but it's also like exposed like structures, like lighting posts and structures that like you're
walking around the set. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're climbing down stage ladders or like stairs made out of simple wooden structures like you would for like a play or something.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Something that amazed me when playing it through the second time is the lighting effects, because you've got all these FMV shots on the wall, and then they are the bright lights on the wall, on the video walls playing these FMV videos, or FM videos. Those bright spots are lighting the space dynamically as if it is a literal like image in the game space, which maybe that's how they did it. They render it in the game, and then it lights the volumetric fog and lighting and dust dynamically realistically in the world through their lighting engine. It's gorgeous. And then they do things like put trees on the stage. So then it's like shining God rays off of the panels of the screens through the ferns of the trees. It's like, whoa.
And it's like the music, like the song itself is like a good song as well.
Oh, it's really good.
And they also
it's like Power Rangers theme song vibe, but like
it's
in a way, but that specifically would get old. This doesn't. They've built this in such a good way.
Yeah, and the ability to have the song take as long as you take and it feel natural is, like it takes some work to do that and know where you can loop and when you have to like get out of the loop and all that stuff. And like the actual choreography is quite good. And their dancing is like funny and engaging and dumb in the best way.
The dance is as uncanny as the rest of the world is in that moment.
It feels like that is what that production would look like.
Yes. But also it's simple that like everyone can do it.
One of my friends was over and she doesn't like play that many games. And when she was over, I got to that moment in the game because she was like
for the first time.
Yeah. And it started to go, and I was like, oh, I know what this is. You might want to pay attention to this. And because like she up to that point, she'd only seen me do like a whole saga section. So it was like through like doing clues and the mind map
really
thing,
long
and
saga section,
and like going through like the swamps and all that stuff, and then it's like hard cut to this.
Yeah, to surreality.
And it worked on someone who had no idea what was happening and someone who had every idea of what was happening, which was me.
Same when I showed it to Sam.
Yeah. I want to leave it on.
I think we do leave it on.
Yeah.
I think looking at this, we've got the ending of Zelda, Bahamut, the Iceworm fight, and the We Sing Herald of Darkness musical section. I think Bahamut goes, unfortunately.
All right.
Again, all great moments, but
I think the Zelda moment can go. It's really good.
Yeah. Maybe for me, who like maybe I might enjoy the ending more, and then this ending would hit harder, and I might stump for it potentially.
I don't think you will, only because it is great and really lovely. And again, like I said, like it's an easy goal. It's quite small as well. Is
it like brief?
Yes.
Right.
It's great, but it's brief.
Okay.
Iceworm versus the song.
I don't know, man. They're such accomplishments.
They are. They are accomplishments.
And what I want to say about both of them, I think more so Herald of Darkness, the musical moment. I think that is something you can only that moment they created there is only. Everyone says this in different terms every year, but this is something you can only do in games. The way they made that, you couldn't do that in an actual film set because it would require a fucking airplane hangar.
Yeah, it's impossible to do. And
then like a 100 incredibly expensive video walls, and then you need to plant trees. Like it is not impossible to even like. It is impossible.
I'll make the case to you why it should be Alan Wake over the Iceworm.
Oh, okay.
And the case...
Is this your official stance, or you're just making the case?
I'm making the case to you as my... Like, I'm putting it to you to see if you accept this as the winner.
But it's like, so this is how you feel about it?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're never going to get anything like this again. Like, this is such a specific to Remedy, such a specific to Alan Wake. Like, we'll get something like this at some point, but for this to feel both like cohesive and in line with the rest of the game as a whole, it requires so much. Like it requires a decade's worth of a portfolio, the face of a project, a project to like kind of leave and come back a little bit, and the actual boldness to go like, we're gonna put this musical number in our survival horror game about a tortured writer.
Yeah,
like. That just doesn't happen. The Iceworm is the most dudes rock moment in the entire year.
Yes.
But they could do that again next year, and I would love it again next year. It is so cool. Rusty is so cool. I Won't Miss is awesome. It is one of the coolest things in a FromSoft game, but it is also a... like the studio, like they can do that again. Whereas the ability to think of wanting to do this, planning it, executing it, filming it, going cross format.
Yeah.
That feeling like not weird or not,
it's quite a vision to then execute on.
Yeah. But they also know that that's a moment. Like that is such a specifically put together bit for you to enjoy it, to take you out of the whole narrative of the game, but still feel, cohesive. Like cohesive and not just like not artificially placed in there. I'm not saying the Iceworm is, but like there's like that works.
That moment could have been artificial. Yeah.
And it works on a level that you just don't see that often. And like this is not a reason. This is not a reason.
You're saying they really went for
they really swung for the fences and absolutely fucking demolished it.
They really did.
And like the Iceworm is cool as hell, and we had 2 other giant worm moments on this list.
True. That's hilarious, isn't it?
It is very funny. That is my proposition to you.
Oh, it hurts. For me personally, it doesn't resonate as much to be like, oh, this may never happen again. So much as like for whether it does or doesn't is not the question for me right now.
The fact that,
however, you make a good point that regardless of whether it does or does not happen again, it is such a it is such a moment of cohesive vision and execution.
Yeah.
And technical accomplishment and achievement.
Yeah.
Plus, it's also quite effective and emotive. Plus, it's an excellent song. Plus, it's blending all of this like I think you're right. I think that the thing with this is that it's impressive on everything except the gameplay level in terms of how it feels to play that mission. Like, I don't think when they introduce enemies it's that fun. However, I don't think the gameplay of the Icewind boss fight is its strongest point either.
I agree with you that
because it's a lot of dodging and then a lot of like missing and fucking now I gotta wait. Okay, wait. Okay, now I do it.
Realistically, dying in both of these sections sucks
so badly.
Yeah,
I hated dying in both of these.
Yeah, because I died in both of these sections and I was like, no, and like
it really yoinks you out.
And like the checkpointing in this section for the musical is fine. It puts you just before the combat encounter, which is like, I'm glad it didn't put you like to the beginning of the song or whatever.
No. And it's a long encounter though. Like
it is a long encounter. But like when you die in the Iceworm, you got to do that whole thing again.
Oh, the whole thing, yeah.
And I died at the very end of that the very first time, and I'm like, fuck, I got to do this again.
Yeah. I had a similar thing happen with Alan, I think, which probably part of what tempered my opinion of it on it.
Yeah.
Fuck, I think it's the musical. Shit. Crap.
We just don't get it like that often.
Again, that doesn't do anything. That doesn't mean much for me. Like the fact, how often, how frequently we do or do not get it, like it is not irrelevant. However, we did get it.
Yeah.
And we also got this. It's about measuring the moment itself, rather than whether we'll see it again or not for me.
Sure.
The moment is so technically, creatively, visionarily, mechanically accomplished.
Yeah.
I can't say no.
Right. Congratulations, Herald of Light.
So sorry, Rusty.
We love Rusty. We do love Rusty.
So much. And his ovid rail cannon.
Yeah. I think maybe there's a chance that if we got to fire the gun.
Ooh. I bet it wouldn't feel good though.
Maybe.
How do you make that feel good?
Yeah, I know. It's like pulling out a bow and arrow in a Dark Souls game. It's like, ooh.
Yeah. The only way that would work in that game is if you're defending the cannon from like smaller forces. And so you're on the ground as it fires and it like fucking shakes your whole world. Like that would be amazing.
Yeah. Or if he who knows?
Yeah.
All right. Next topic, Gary.
Next topic. Oh boy. So we have, Jeremy, that was 2 topics in 1 hour. Can you move your cursor, please? I can't open this anymore. Thank you. Oh, there we go. So back to Zelda for a moment. We have best new addition to Tears of the Kingdom. It's an important game for this year because it's a sequel to the Breath of the Wild, and they did a lot of crazy things with it. Some of which we've spoken about, some of which we're going to talk about again. So our nominees for best new addition are the Depths, the Sky Islands, your abilities, so Fuse or separately, Fuse, Ascend, Rewind, and Ultra Hand. Plus, I've added as one big category here: vehicles, devices, and battery power. Some of these I'm pretty comfortable to say no.
Yeah.
And they're all great. They're all cool. But the Sky Islands are pretty limited. Yep. They're a nice extra change of pace, but for how many there are there and for how actually little time you spend up there and in total, they're actually pretty muted in terms of how their impact on the game.
Yep.
Same for Rewind, I think.
Yep.
It's cool, but you use it so infrequently. It's great for when you need it. But
there's a lot of creativity you can do with it. It's cool.
Yeah.
That's it.
I thought I'd be able to cut more than that easily.
I'm gonna take away Fuse as well. I think Fuse is really cool, and I think that the ability to add a tremendous amount of abilities to your weapons changing characteristics of swords and shields is really, really fun.
It also solves the weapon durability problem.
I don't think it was a problem.
No, but for the people who did, I think it did.
I think it probably...
It took a contentious mechanic and made it better in a way that didn't ruin it for the people who enjoyed it originally and helped to fix it for the people who disliked it in the first place.
I think yes, but I think that I think that there was perhaps too many weapons that needed an addition for them to be viable.
Too many ruined weapons.
Yeah, that it became I think that maybe the game relied on it just a little bit too much, and I kind of just wanted to find some weapons that were good that I didn't feel like I needed to add a really strong ability to, but maybe just like add an ability that will change a characteristic as opposed to just making it overall stronger.
But Jeremy, did you ever fuse a Hudson placard with a shield?
I did
to create a Hudson shield?
I didn't. That sounds great.
It's so funny.
That's so funny.
Huge. He's just on your back. He's staring at you the whole time when you're walking around.
That is so funny. However, Kerry, did you ever make a Hudson flying machine?
No. What does that mean?
It's just a flying machine, but you just put Hudson on the front.
Watch out, he's coming.
Yeah.
Jeremy, did you ever make a broadsword longsword?
I did. I made very long, very long spears often because I was like, I don't want to touch this guy.
Jeremy, did you ever stick a bomb on a shield then jump on it?
I did.
Did you ever stick a gigantic iron ball on a shield and jump on it and then fall over?
No. Did you ever stick something that is definitely immediately... No, sorry. Did you ever stick a bomb on an arrow and then go into an area that's very hot?
Yeah, I think I did once or twice.
Yeah, you go,
it's funny because they did that in the old game. If you pull out bomb arrows in Breath of the Wild,
they blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good and it's really funny. I think it doesn't beat the rest of them.
Fuse for me beats Ascend. But that's because I think very highly of Fuse. That's not to talk down to Ascend. Ascend is transformational to the way this game works, you know?
Yeah.
Because something I thought of, they had Hyrule, right? That's amazing. Oh, they added the skies. That's cool. You've got so much more room to play with and you can make like flying vehicles. And they added the depths. Don't forget, they added fucking hundreds of caves and wells in this game as well. There's like a fourth hidden layer. There's like a first overworld before the second actual underworld, rather, I guess is what I meant to say there. And then the second underworld. Like, there's so much other stuff. And that works as well as it does because you have Ascend. It also allows to introduce many different new puzzles and stuff like that. I kind of think Ascend is in a similar place as Rewind, except a bit stronger, where it's like, it's there, it's great, it does a lot of stuff, it's not useless, but it's not its own thing for me, I don't think.
I think I actually want to get rid of both of these.
I think we need to, but I don't want to.
Well, let's talk about vehicles, devices, and battery power.
It's cool.
It is cool. There's a part you're not up to.
Oh, really?
Yep. That makes me want to get rid of it.
Whoa. Is it like a required fight or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
It's real bad.
That's funny.
It's the worst part. It's the worst part of the game. It's what brought the game down from like a 9.5 to a 9 for me. I was like, this part is like a whole detraction.
Did you mind it in the rest of the game? Like, did you enjoy it to have in for the depths or Carry Town? Or
it is never good.
Wow.
I got it after Carry Town.
I definitely find that I don't use it very often. Like, I've got all these schema stones and Yiga schematics and all of that, and and I just hardly use them because
Don't
I
get
don't
me
want to spend the Zone Night and
Like, I'm not getting rid of Ultra Hand. I'm not getting rid of combinations. And like vehicles kind of fit in Ultra Hand anyway because you make your own vehicles, but like specifically battery powered specific thing.
And the devices.
And the devices. There's a thing that you'll get to that I have a feeling you will be like, because everybody was spoken to about this. Every single person I've spoken to about this is like, what the fuck is this?
Wow, right.
Yeah.
Did Ollie finish the game?
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
Great. That leaves us with Ultra Hand and the Depths.
Yeah. I love the Depths. It's my favorite part of the game.
That's wild. I also love the Depths. It is not my favorite part of the game.
It is also, I think, not the best part of the game. I think for me, Ultra Hand is the thing.
Yeah, they put gizmos in a Legend of Zelda game. You know what I mean? They put rotation gizmos in a fucking Zelda game. They gave you fucking game engine destroying engine manipulation tools in a Zelda game and said, go nuts.
Yeah.
We saw what you did with metal objects in the previous game. Here, now you could pick up everything.
Yeah. The Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts walked, so the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom could run.
Makes no fucking sense.
What do you mean?
I mean, like that lineage is absolutely like it is that is how that works.
Yeah.
And that being how it works makes no fucking sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you can build, like you can do art in that game if you want. You can build sculptures. You can build
mechs.
Giant mechs. Have you seen people who make real ass like Metal Gears?
No.
People have made Metal Gears.
That's pretty wild.
Someone made Metal Gear Rex.
That's really cool.
People have made.
You can make literal bridges. In this game.
You can make like jet fighter planes with lasers that just auto aim and lock.
Yep.
It is so fucking cool. And you could also just you could just put a log on another log, and that way you're just over that fucking little gap.
Yep. You can glue things together. So many things. It's wild. There have been so many times I've been sitting just playing the game and thinking, these like visionaries somehow thought that it was okay to put this in their game, and they were right. And it completely redefines the entire game.
Have you seen chain on a wheel in this game?
Yes, I have. In one
door,
of the depth facilities.
Yeah, a door that you attach a wheel to, and you turn the wheel to go, and then it rolls up the chain. What?
Yep. That's just like physics.
That's just how the world works.
Yep. For me, the depths, it doesn't clear it for me because it's a bit one note. At the end of the day, the best part of the depths is finding a specific area, but it takes a long time to do that because it's so big. The depths is great if you just feel like spelunking and like that's all you're doing for a while. It's like shooting light arrows and taking out goblins that are mining and then breaking some rocks and then moving on.
Depths was like the best No Man's Sky world, because it was. I knew it was finite. Like I knew that I could get everywhere. It would take me the perfect amount of time to explore the whole thing. Yeah. And I explored the whole thing. Yeah. And then I did it and I went, hell yeah, I feel like accomplished because of that. Yeah. And it was it got challenging. And there were definitely puzzles in there, and then every now and again there was a structure. I'm like, oh, another structure, because there's and they're kind of scattered almost the perfect distance away from themselves, and they have a one-to-one relation to what's above them. It's tremendously executed on. this is gonna sound kind of weird, but like the depths kind of feels like a Kojima mechanic. It kind of doesn't. It doesn't kind of
Strand game.
but it doesn't belong in this game in a weird way. But how else do you re-explore a game that everyone's put 120 hours into, and it's you add another one?
Yep.
And it's not as versatile as Hyrule is in either game, and there's less to actively do down there. But could you imagine if they made if they made low rule? Like, that would have been too much. It would have been too much.
And really, effectively, that's what they did. You know, like a lot of this game was saying, what Zelda things didn't we have in that last one? They're in here. We've got bomb
literally
flowers.
low rule.
Yeah, it is. It's the underworld. Like, these games are obsessed with having alternate versions of the worlds that you're already familiar with. They did it in Link to the Past, and they never stopped doing it.
Even the sound that you make when you go down the giant holes is kind of like the buzzing sound that you make when you go from Hyrule to Lorule in Link to the Past. Mm. It's got a lineage there as well.
It's it is amazing. It's not Ultra Hand though.
It's not Ultra Hand.
Yeah.
You did it, Ultra
Congratulations,
Hand.
Ultra Hand.
Yeah. Ultra Handshake. Congratulations, you did it. Up next is this game can hang /C cool /this game fucks /this game is tight in the pants award. Forgot about that one, didn't you?
Significantly less horny games on the list this year.
Yes. The celebration of sick turns and awesome vibes. The nominees are El Paso Elsewhere, Lethal Company, Ghost Runner 2, Dredge, and Armored Core 6, The Fires of Rubicon.
Can you talk to me about El Paso Elsewhere?
I can talk to you about El Paso Elsewhere. El Paso Elsewhere is got vibes up the fucking wazoo. You are a sick as hell vampire hunter who is going to kill a bunch of vampires to stop the end of the world. One of them is your ex. Dracula is her name. It is a Max Payne ass fucking vampire killing game where you are doing lunging sideways bullet times everywhere all the time.
We need more of that.
We do
in the industry.
We do. Like, the whole game is that, and it's not a short game. It's like a solid 10 hours or something.
So what you're telling me is a Max Payne game released this year.
Kinda. And it's got really cool like rap music as well, sung by like the protagonist. It is really cool. I don't love the game enough to keep it on the list.
Oh, dang.
Which is a shame, because I was actually considering putting that game in like my top 10. Sorry, my top 5, and then I went back to play more. I'm like, I gotta play more. And then that made me go, actually, maybe not. I would like to finish it. But it's like it's like it's a lot of the same all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool. And it like this game can hang, but there can only be one This Game Can Hang award winner. And it is unfortunately not El Paso Elsewhere, even though it fucks.
Yeah. In another year, it might win.
Maybe. Maybe. It's cool. It's worth playing.
Yeah. Ghost Runner 2, I'll speak to. I think this game nails, like I said before, it's very kinetic. It nails the movement. It nails wanting to have you be fast, keep up speed, and do cool shit constantly.
Mm-hmm.
It also nails the setting, is the thing. Like, it's so cool to see a really well realized cyberpunk setting, but in an apocalypse as well. So like you go from a city to this desolate like exterior, and like when you go into the underbelly of the city, or you find like some ancient religious structure inside the city somewhere. Like, it's a completely different tone and vibe, and it gets all they start playing a lot of organ and synth, and it's like, oh fuck yes.
Yeah.
Like, the soundtrack never lets up and is never disappointing. It's really strong. There's rain on shiny metal and neon lights, like, for days. It's really, 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 really good. However, the story drags it down somewhat, like, and feels quite generic on top of that setting. To the point, I think, where it pulls away from it. Like, it the way they implement the story, while it doesn't detract from the game necessarily, I do think it detracts from the setting and kind of turns it into cliche.
Right.
Just barely. Because it's like, oh, random guy dies, and who's this? Oh, we needed a mercenary on our team, and oh, you keep telling me stuff, but I don't remember anything you've just said. Like, yeah. So that's my input for Ghost Runner there.
We're taking it off.
Important to have on the list, but not quite a contender, I don't think.
Right. For Lethal Company, I think this game is funny and can hang.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit not light. But it's a bit
bare.
Yeah, like it's still in development. And it's worth remembering because I think the vibes of the game are good. Like, you can get lost very easily. The audio is great. The communication is wonderful. Everything it's got in there like works. It's still in early access, needs more. But everything that's there is good and can hang. But I think not in comparison to what's on the rest of the list.
No, I agree. I would be fascinated to see how Lethal Company stacks up in full release.
Yes, me too.
And I'm very excited to see it approach that and be along for the ride.
Yeah. Dredge and Armored Core are the ones that are left on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Dredge, I think, might win it.
Oh.
For me.
Oh.
And my case is that Armored Core 6, and this is intentional as part of the design of the game and the narrative and the story they're telling and everything, has got competing vibes. Where there's there's this planet and there's multiple factions, and you've got a couple of different types of factions that you are working with and against. And it is it is a fairly personal story as well, and you get to know a lot about the characters and stuff, and the tone is cool. And there are some really cool moments in the game, and there are some missions that are kind of a little bit boring at times, or maybe basic and just a bit like, here's just another mission, especially in the first two acts. And they're kind of a little bit, they don't really set tone in those missions. They kind of just give you more character background, and just more gameplay. The gameplay is good. But it doesn't put it together all the way. It doesn't serve a singular focus for me, whereas Dredge's entire thing is about its dark tone, its twisted Lovecraftian nature. The you going from fishing village to fishing village, and then you're just in the fucking ocean, and it's like, oh fuck, like I'm just proper in the ocean right now, and the fog is setting in, and it's getting very late, and now I'm seeing things, and like I put myself in this situation because I really wanted to get that late night fish in the middle of the fucking ocean, but I can see like a very bright light very far away that is like beckoning me to go look at it, and I really want to know what it is, but like, what the fuck is it going to do? And the panic meter which is, you know, a really great way of modernizing the really poor, like, you know, mental health representation.
Like insanity.
Yeah,
mechanic.
It's always been that for a good long time. Changing that to just panic, and it freaking you out and making you see things that you're not sure are there or not, and then getting back to like a fishing village and everyone's like you look kind of shook up, friend, and things are just not right there either. Like everyone is just like, yeah, like my brother went out there and fucking like I haven't seen him in 2 decades now. And so everyone's just got this odd on edgeness about things that are going on.
You're selling me on the tone of the game, but I don't know if you're selling me on how much it can hang, how cool it is, how tight in the pants it is. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
This is excellent design and it's excellent, excellent, yeah, like tone and world building setting and stuff like that. But it doesn't sound like
it's not.
How many times in Dredge were you going, fuck yeah?
See, I wasn't doing that in Neon White or Umurangi.
Okay.
But those...
Really? You weren't in Neon White? You didn't have that sense of satisfaction?
Satisfaction, yes, but it wasn't like... Like, satisfaction is not the thing that I'm going for when I'm talking about that it's tight in the pants. What I'm going for is it's like hot.
Yeah, no, I get that. Well, yeah, I don't know that either of these games are especially hot per se.
Yeah.
Not in like that Paradise Killer Neon White way.
Yeah, no, but those are like...
There are many beautiful people.
Yeah, like those are sexy in a different way, whereas... Can it hang? Oh, it's tricky. It's really tricky.
621. I've got a job for you, 621.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty good.
Wake the dog up.
Okay, actually, all right. Here's why I think it can be Armored Core. The giant flying ship.
Sorry.
No. The giant flying ship in that mission.
Oh yeah, Act 5. What do they call it?
No, not Act 5. The one in like Act 2? The one you got to climb aboard and blow up.
Oh yeah, that you do like 10 more times. Yeah, and it turns up and it destroys the people that you're fighting.
Yeah.
Because it's the Planetary Closure Administration, yeah.
And it's huge. And you got to go through the sand to get there for ages.
Yeah.
And then, like, you're, like, getting there.
Oh, the Strider!
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, right. I thought you meant the, yeah, no, the airships.
No.
Destroy the deck of.
No, the one giant one.
Yeah, no, the 6-legged Strider. Yeah. And that is so cool.
It takes forever to get there.
That is also a moment.
And as you're getting there, it like continuously gets bigger.
Yep.
And then you got to leave. You got to like get far enough away that when it blows up, it doesn't blow you up.
Yeah.
Which I did not do the first time. But actually,
also, remember in Chapter 5 when you take the Xylem and it turns out this city is a gigantic fucking concrete flying monolith?
Yeah.
And
do you remember when you go underground for the first time?
For the first time. Oh, and like you blow up the vent and it like explodes and you have to leave?
No. When you go underground and for the first time you see the giant underground city that you didn't realize was there.
Oh, yeah. When you spent ages trying to get through the watch point.
Yeah,
yep.
And it's like, oh my God, there's a whole fucking city down here that is larger than anything I've ever seen.
Uh-huh. What about breaking out of prison?
Yeah, I didn't
What
love
about
that part. But
crashing the xylem into the coral funnel or whatever they call it?
All right, it's Armored Core
The
6.
Fires of Raven, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's Armored Core 6.
I think it is Armored Core 6.
I love you, Dredge.
Like, nothing against Dredge.
No,
but
totally not.
Fuck. Like, Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. I've said it so many times this year and it doesn't get old. It's so fucking cool.
That's a poster to put on a wall, that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Which they gave you in the launch edition of the game on disc.
Which I have.
Me too. Did I tell you the story on the podcast of me buying that game?
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
I think I told you at the time, how it was sold out across the whole shopping center.
Yeah.
And I think I ended up accidentally, like, some employee was like, oh, here's a copy. And I'm pretty sure it was probably the
other
game guy put it aside to buy that night before they went home.
Yeah. All right. Best thing from Jeremy's month of October.
Now, this is a very personal category, but now I was part of this month, but nowhere near all of it. And honestly, I just wanted you to look back on that time. And I just wanted, with a bit of hindsight, to look back and think, oh, this moment.
So I've got 4 things here. Seeing this is not a game thing at all. Seeing the People's Joker in the cinema was a highlight for me. That movie is so good. If you can get a chance to go see it, you definitely should. I think it's going to be released digitally next year, which is exciting because currently the only way to see it is for a screening. Unsanctioned Batman film. Queer liberation satire film about Batman and like the Joker, and it's great. It's so good. It's so funny and crass and hilarious, and you should just go watch it. It rules. Vera Drew is so funny. Janet Damone's A Slumlord and a Witch is a game that I spoke about and still awesome. I'm still looking forward to playing that when it comes out.
This is the one where the developers recreated their old rental?
Yeah, their old rental in Chippendale. Which I wanted to remind you is a real place.
Thank you. I just need to look that up again.
Yeah.
That is so fucking funny.
It is so fucking funny. This is the most cathartic game that I have played from the perspective of a renter, which, granted, that's that specific category, there is only one. But they nail everything in that game in terms of what it's like to be in a rental or a share house or anything like that.
Worry about your bond and just get things fixed.
The awkward politics of a roommate asking you to get something out of their bedroom and you just being in someone else's space and it just being a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
Rose and Locket, which was one of our games of the show from PAX. Just a fucking banger. So excited for that game to come out. Really lovely people who are making it. But like that was the game that like you would go over to the booth and you'd see every other Australian games media person there also lined up to play it because everybody has told everybody else to play it. That was such a funny moment.
But also it was always occupied. There was always someone else playing it.
And just have like a rotating roster of other writers from Australia going, you here to play? Yeah, you're here to play this.
Yeah.
That game is so cool. But my number one is just getting repeatedly drunk at the Tech Expo of South by Southwest because after a certain point, just a bunch of open bars just show up and you just got to scan your wristband and they will give you, or scan your badge rather, and they will just hand you alcohol. And I think it was meant to be one per person.
That's pretty nuts.
It is pretty nuts. Like, it's an over 18s event. Like you can't go in there if you're a kid.
But just like, I mean, you've got like a $2,000 ticket, right? So like, I guess it makes sense. But like, just scanning a wristband and then you get alcohol is fucking nuts.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know if it was an over 18s event, but I think if you were under 18, I think you couldn't, like, you scanned your badge and it'd say you're under 18. Anyway, I think it was meant to be one per person, but it sure wasn't. And so I was just going around, and then like I went up to like one of our friends, Cass, who was running a booth, like, and she couldn't leave.
You're kidding.
Yeah. She was running a booth. I was like, and she's like, I can't leave. I'm like, do you want me to get you one? And she was like, oh, maybe. That, and then wandering up to companies that I had no business really talking to, but Qantas was just there, or like some drone, some drone racing league thing was there. And I'm like, well, let me talk to you because I've got alcohol and you've got a thing that you want to sell everybody. So then going into the Qantas booth, and then they're saying, hey, you want to see the future of like long distance first class travel? I'm like, you bet I do. And they're like, well, sit down here and put on this VR helmet. And then I just put
like, the future of long distance first class travel. I haven't seen the present.
And I'm holding like champagne, and like they're like, oh, I'll put that down for you. And I'm like, okay. And then they take my drink and put it down and give me the helmet. I look around. I'm like, this is weird. And then I sit in the first class booth for about 5 minutes as some guy talks to me about it. And then he was quite polite and told me about their like intercontinental, like, Sydney to London flights that they're going to start doing, which is like
Kutamandra.
And you have like a small bed and a wardrobe in a plane. And then hopping on a fucking drone fighter pilot racing league thing. And I got a great time. And he said to me, have you done this before? And I said, no, but I've done Flight Simulator before. And he should not have said the words, wow, you're really good. Have you done this before? Because that went straight to my head more than the alcohol did. I have not forgotten that.
That is why you're bringing this moment up.
I bring this up regularly to people. Just a lot of that kind of stuff.
You sound like a man who just brought a HOTAS.
Yeah, a lot of just like shenanigans at that place. Just the weirdest of technology. Like felt very much like a kid. A kid at the pub.
Right. Except they gave him drinks.
Yeah, except they would give me alcohol.
Ooh. Yeah. Ooh, no, Andre's drinking. It's not great, kids. Yeah. Not great.
Anyway.
Well, excellent.
Weird month.
I appreciate the revisit of your time away.
Truly bizarre. Truly bizarre. With an honorable mention, as always, to Parallels Free Play, which is always my favorite event of Melbourne International Games Week. Just banger every year. Banger again this year. So funny. Deeply funny show this year. Way less serious talks. Like, there's usually a good balance between, like, really intensely personal and, like, quite funny stuff. Like, this one was almost like a fucking comedy show.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So we're nearly done, everybody-ish. Yeah. We'll maybe have you out of here by the 3-hour mark. We'll see. What do we got right now? This next category is called Best Mario Wonder Ability.
Yes.
Now, Jeremy, you added most of these because you've played far more of this game than I have, but I did add one. So for the nominees, we have Elephant, Mining Hat.
Yep, Drill Hat, Mining Hat.
Bubble.
And
those are like power-ups.
Yeah.
And then we have like the wonder changes.
Seeds, yeah.
We've got Becoming Goomba. We have Silhouette.
Yes.
And the one I wrote, which is Walking on Walls.
I also forgot one, which is Very Tall.
Oh, Very Tall. A lot of the time that only happens with Silhouette, isn't it?
I think that's the case, but they are like I'll put them together.
Silhouette and Very Tall.
Yeah, Silhouette, Very Tall. Bubble is really strong and probably the best combat ability in the game. Because
it's outrageous, isn't it? Because really nothing escapes once it's in there.
Yeah. Like a couple enemies don't get affected by it, but for the most part, you just like that's it. You've got it. So when you're in any of those like combat rooms, that's usually the one to go for. Right. It's not the best wonder ability though. So I'm gonna.
No, I don't think it's the best. I actually found it annoying half the time because like I found myself waiting for things to get out of my way when I used it.
Right. The mining hat is good. The drill hat is cool. You get to sort of just dig in the ground and be underground for a bit and pop out, and you can go up walls and you can go in the ceiling as you do it. And there's some hidden areas that you can only access if you've got the drill hat, which is quite cool. It's good fun, and it's really strong as a butt bounce as well because you go head first. That's great. Not the best ability though, so I'm gonna take it out. Becoming Goomba is very funny. It's very
I haven't done this or the drill hat personally.
It's good fun becoming a Goomba, because Goombas don't attack you, you waddle and it's stupid.
Yep. It's funny that you could do that in Odyssey as well with Cappy.
And you can stack Goombas in that, which was really funny.
Yep.
It's very funny. I want to shout it out. It's not the best ability though.
Okay.
You want to talk about walking on walls? Walking
on walls is a really fun mechanic moment. Like there are great moments in that game.
Yeah.
But in terms of like you get the flower and then you all of a sudden something is different. I really liked this one because it wasn't like, whoa, we blew open the walls and now there's bison and like everything's just different all of a sudden. This was like, no, here's the same level. It's hardly changed. But now you need to navigate this whole other layer that you didn't even notice before.
Yeah.
It was such a cool mechanical moment, as well as just like a fun what the fuck kind of thing.
Yeah. It's not the best Mario Wonder ability though.
No, I don't think so.
Silhouette very tall. It's quite funny.
It's really good.
Like, you become very tall.
And when you crouch, like the whole world crouches with you.
Yeah. It's used to good effect multiple times throughout the game of like, oh, I need to actually be quite small in this area and I got to hold down while I make it and get very tall and jump over the thing. And then it's good fun. And it's very goofy. Because you don't see him get very tall. It's only silhouetted tall Mario.
Yep.
However, it's not the best Mario Wonder ability. You know what is the best Mario Wonder ability, Kerry?
I can't believe this is the case, but I think you're right.
It's the elephant.
It really is the elephant. Wowie zowie, everybody.
Wowie zowie. He's a fucking elephant and he looks great.
With pants.
With pants and a hat.
Or a dress.
Yeah. He's great. So good. Water.
And you can just mash that button and smack things.
Yep.
Or, you could fill up your trunk.
Yeah, with water and shoot it. Or you can hold down crouch and crawl along the ground. And it's the fucking funniest thing in the world. The elephant also has the amazing execution of feeling like a Mario ability that could have existed in the Super Nintendo era, right? Like that vibe is got the same vibe to me as like the Tanuki suit. Similar vibe to just riding on Yoshi. Like it's like Isabelle in Animal Crossing. Like you could have been here from the start and I wouldn't have even known.
That's a really good point.
Feels like classic Mario.
Yeah, I can really vibe with that.
And is great. Fucking funny. Just so funny.
Yeah.
What a cool game.
I mean, that whole game is full of moments like that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, this adds to it.
Yeah.
Next up, Jeremy, what do we got?
The best game I wish I got to.
Oh yes, this is more of an individual thing, but we'll talk to how we feel about this.
So I've got two, and I'll choose one out of my two. My number one is one of two is Lies of P.
Yeah.
I did play it, just not nearly enough to really have any cohesive thoughts about it. I would love to play more, but it's like it's not going on my game of the year purely just because I haven't played nearly enough.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
It was just a busy time when it came out. Just didn't have the time.
Yeah.
It didn't instantly grab me. There was room for it to instantly grab me, and it did not.
Yeah, I definitely got more used to it when I came back to it like a month ago. It was after seeing someone play it and seeing how much they leaned on the block.
Yep.
And the deflection aspects of the game, where I was playing it more like dodge, in which case I felt like relying on the dodge mechanic in that game makes it feel like a looser Souls game, but relying on your block and trying to understand when to use it more gives it that Sekiro balance, you know? So like that was a nice clicking moment for me in a way where I could focus on that more. It felt a bit better.
Yeah, blocking and parrying is definitely how I started from the beginning of that game because Bloodborne and Sekiro are like they're my boys. So like that was how I began playing it. But I just didn't realistically put enough hours into it yet.
Mm-hmm.
My other one is Ghost Runner 2. Just because that game just looks like it fucks.
Sure do.
Yeah.
Full review on minimap.com.au.
Exactly.
I gave it an 8 out of 10. Game fucks. I've got 2. I've kind of got 3 actually. I didn't get to Dave the Diver, which I just remembered, which people really enjoyed.
I bought that today.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yesterday.
Sale?
Yep.
Oh, how much?
I don't remember. It came out of my the day before credit.
Oh, nice. Yeah. On my list is Dredge, which you had very positive things to say about. Also reviewed on minimap.com.au. What was that? 9 out of 10?
9. Yep. Gave it a 9.
It's everyone who's played it has only had positive things to say about it. I really want to because people say it's great, except maybe the ending, right?
Yeah, it's just lackluster ending. It's not even like it's not bad. It just is like almost absent.
Right.
Like it ends, but like I was like, oh, okay.
Yep. And then Sea of Stars, I'm a bit sad I didn't get to. I played the demo when it wasn't like shadow dropped at some Nintendo Direct. But this game's on PS Plus now. It's on Game Pass. It's you could just buy it on Switch. And it's such a nice, like looking at it, playing the demo and looking at footage. It's such a good like Golden Sun vibes RPG. I think a lot of people say it's more like Chrono Trigger. That's not my point of comparison, but I just appreciate that it is that more SNES/GBA style RPG. Plus, it has like active combat mechanics in the turn-based systems, kind of like a Mario RPG, like a Paper Mario or a Mario and Luigi, where you have to tap A at the right time and stuff like that. That's really engaging for me. I'm just sad I haven't gotten to it. It was a bit daunting. It was like, oh, this is like a something dozens of hours game.
Yeah.
Like, how am I going to do that? Like we were talking about Eastwood in the break. Like,
yes, I was literally just thinking about Eastwood being like, oh, I can't play this right now. It's far too long.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sad I didn't get to it. But again, another one that people who have played, I like, have they ever had anything bad to say about it? I don't think they have, really.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Then we have Freshest Idea.
The Freshest Idea.
I added one of these while we were talking about Mario before.
Right. So this is just like the new hotness that came out this year. Something that we think is like, wow, what a really cool thing that is worth celebrating. That a video game did. Because what? What are you laughing at?
You'll see.
Okay. Because there's been a lot of really cool mechanics and stuff, but I didn't want to limit it to just mechanics, and so just kind of broadened it out to just be like best cool new thing, or best thing that they've done and executed on this year. So Ultra Hand is one of them. Fuse coupled with enemies dropping valuable weapon components. Light manipulation in Alan Wake 2. Actual implementation of maps, Metroidvania elements, and traversal skills in Jedi Survivor. Because they didn't do it in the first one.
And they did it. They did it quite well in this.
Yeah, it's done really well. Alan Wake 2 making FMV cool again, and removing timer and score from Mario. I'm gonna take out Alan Wake 2 making FMV cool again because it was never not cool.
No, but they made it like actively benefit a modern AAA game. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like not that FMV became a bit cliche, but then there's been cool things done with it in the meantime. But the way they blend traditional 3D game design with FMV, and I know it's not the first time Remedy's done this, but they did do it masterfully here.
They did. Like, they executed it in the most like effective way possible in this than they ever have in the past, and I think that is really cool. But like they also did do that in Control. Like a fair
I don't think
bit.
it hit as hard as this.
It was different. Like it was used to different effect in this. But I think that they like between the Control FMV overlays that they would do when you're in like those objective power sequences, and also the moments on the TVs in Control, because they did them both. Like you would see the silhouette of the previous director in Control, which is kind of like those echoes in Alan Wake 2.
Totally.
Don't get me wrong. Like again, we spoke about the Hero of Light moment. I think it's incredible how they've done it, but I don't think it's fresh.
Okay.
Is my argument for it. Like we've had other, like, you know, The Quiet Man came out and pushed the medium forward like 80,000 steps. Let's not forget. So like
Who?
The Quiet Man.
Oh.
Remember The Quiet Man?
Yes, but I couldn't have told you that was an FMV game.
Well, yeah, the whole thing was that it was an FMV game.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's an FMV
I probably
game.
knew that once, but I completely forgot.
You want to talk to removing timers and scores from Mario?
Oh, I think... I guess maybe not the freshest idea, but it definitely took that game out of the 80s. Thank God. And for me, it really reinvigorated my even just ability to enjoy the new Mario game. I have just struggled to enjoy 2D Mario games for a good while now. And removing the score and timer then allowed them to make areas that were much more fun to explore and were much more casual and less like performance-based, which I personally very much enjoyed.
It is so funny how much that affects you. Only in sense because it doesn't.
Don't give me an S rank.
It doesn't affect me at all.
No, I know. I honestly really think that's one of the best parts of Mario Wonder.
Yeah, right. Do you want to leave it in?
I think talking about it made me realize that, like I said, it's more like removing old ideas rather than bringing in new ones. So maybe like not conceptually, but okay. I'm glad to have shouted it out here.
How do you feel about them still having lives? Because to me, lives makes less sense than timers and score.
Yeah, like it's a good point. Like removing the timer score is very similar to Celeste, right?
They've
having lives isn't.
They've taught it. They've brought Mario from the 80s just to the 90s is what they've done.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like getting rid of lives in a Mario game would be like getting rid of coins.
But coins have a purpose.
Yeah. But
lives exist because you had real coins. They had to put in a machine.
Yeah, but that was never a thing in like Mario games. That's not why you had lives in Mario games.
In Super Mario, in Mario Brothers, yeah.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with like level design and platforming and
whatever. No, because it would send you back to the beginning of the world is what it would do in the arcade games. Yeah. Sorry, in the NES and SNES games.
Yeah. So you're right. Like their point has been diluted extremely.
Yeah.
So like I see where you're coming from. However, they're harmless is the thing.
Yeah, almost. Like it just puts you to the beginning of the level that you failed, as opposed to putting you at the checkpoint.
As opposed to like the main menu or whatever.
Or the checkpoint. Yeah.
Checkpoint. Yep.
Anyway.
Jeremy, light manipulation in Alan Wake 2. I see this and I think they did this 13 years ago with the first Alan Wake.
So yes and no. Like the torch, yes. But it is used to different effect in this game. Because light plays more of a different purpose in this because you've got that gizmo that can take lights out of things and then put them in different areas.
True, and that's that like instant loading thing.
It's that, but it's also just like put a light here because like I'm just gonna put this light in this fucking car because there's a whole bunch of enemies here and I just need to get away from them for a little bit. So I'm just going to light up this car and the car's headlights are going to turn on, or this lamp's going to turn on. And it just gives me that safe space, which again is in the first game, but it wasn't manipulated. It wasn't manipulatable in the first game. It was just like a checkpoint. And it wasn't, and also the way enemies react to your torch was different, where in the Saga sections, that's how it worked in Alan Wake 1. But the Alan Wake sections in Alan Wake 2, it's different, where you have to hold them on to the ghosts to see which ones are the real ghosts or not. I think it works really well thematically in the entire game in a way that I think is really, really cool. I think it's fresher than Jedi Survivor actually implementing its game mechanics correctly. It doesn't need to be number one, but I think it's up there. It's it doesn't have to be number one, but I think it's really cool how you can take light away from an area that you don't have to be here anymore, and have it in your bag with you, and then light up an area later on, and it becomes a checkpoint, or I've got a checkpoint at the moment, and I know that I have to get rid of this checkpoint for me to progress through the world, and there's nowhere for me to go but forward, so I just have to fucking make it there. That stuff I think is really cool and really, really masterfully done. And I think that there are some issues with Alan Wake's level design that a lot of people are coming up against. But I think that everybody, myself included in some instances, but I think part of that is because it's really hard to conceptualize a lot of their levels, which is an issue and isn't an issue, when they are forcing you to change the levels often. I think it's it's a little bit overblown in some instances, the issues with some of the level design, because some of the stuff they're doing is really, really complex, but you just can't quite imagine it at times. Because it's
you're holding 4 different states of the same room.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it rules.
Yeah.
But I don't have to leave it on this list.
Yeah, I think you're right. Us talking about Jedi Survivor is funny.
Yeah, that's kind of that's a joke, funny answer.
It's a bit of a dig. Yeah.
Well, it's a dig at the first game, because it's the second game is so far and away better than the first, and I would actually only recommend people play the second game. I'm just gonna in my mind it just eclipses the need to go back to the first one.
I think I would say watch the first game in that instance. I would watch for some of the dynamic that you get, meeting Merrin and understanding Seer's journey. I think that's important in that regard. But yeah, maybe gameplay wise, not as much.
Yeah.
Because remember, in this game, you start with so many of the powers you got in the first one, which then makes you realize that you start without them in the first one. You climb slower in that game until your second or third visit to Kashyyyk, when you get climbing claws.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you don't have force pull or push.
And I get that, but you got to give it to us early.
Or wall run, you don't have any of it.
That's I'm not saying that this is a better game, but that's hour one of The Force Awakens is getting all of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you get some of that.
Sorry, not The Force Awakens. Force Unleashed is you get all that stuff hour one, because
you get pull and wall running in the first planet, but it's a little longer of a section. It's more hour 2 or 3.
Yeah.
That game's funny.
Ultra Hand, fuse coupled with enemies dropping valuable weapon components. I think it's probably Ultra Hand again, for reasons that we went through before. But if you want to make the case for fuse,
I really want to make the case for fuse.
Yeah, go for it.
Because there's something about how, and this is a similar thing to Ultra Hand, and it's probably because they're informed by the same design philosophy.
It is hard to separate them.
Yeah, how they both feed into and empowering the player to create their own solutions. However, the the ability with Fuse for you to never be stuck for weapon choices and to never be like, I feel like I'm constantly reevaluating my kit in Zelda, where I did a fuse of this and this, and that was great, but I want to make sure I hang on to this Zonite horn, because when I get a mighty Zonite weapon, that will be it at its strongest if I compare them, or if I beat one of the flux constructs with the turning pylons when I defeat them, I want to pair that with, and so having that on board so I can keep that around so I can put them together. Or you're trying to get through a wall and you don't want to use all your bombs, and you find that rusty claymore and a rock and you can start bashing your way through it. Or just the fact that it makes every combat encounter valuable, because while you are spending some durability on these things, you are gaining the reward of the materials that you can then use to create stronger weapons the next time. Like, I think it really works together to synthesize all of the mechanics of why you would want to fight something, of why you would want to have different weapons, of why you would want to put them together, of what you want to put together. And yeah.
I just had a funny idea for like the equivalent of a Nuzlocke run.
Oh yeah.
Which is to never pick any of those items up and only fuse.
What, the weapon materials?
Yeah. And only fuse them.
Oh, so just like Royal Broadsword with Royal Broadsword or whatever.
No. As in like there's items on the ground. I can either fuse these to my weapons right now, or I can, or
so it's always like the Talus Hearts.
Yeah, or leave them.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
And then like having to decide what weapons, like what do I have on?
Really hard choices.
Yeah, what do I have on me? What's going to break the least? Like, this weapon's so strong, especially with this, but it's going to break so quickly and I'm going to lose the fucking... Yeah, like, that sounds like a fun idea.
That does sound like a good mod for those who maybe know how to get it into a moddable state. I actually don't.
I reckon you could just do it. Like, you could just...
Oh, yeah. Like rule set yourself, like challenge yourself.
Yeah. Like, it's like that person who played Breath of the Wild without going over them, like, without going over a part in the game that they've been to before.
Oh, right, wow.
Yeah, like they did the game,
hero's path.
Yeah, without crossing over a hero's path at any given point.
Yep.
Which means
that's intense.
Yeah, which means going to towers once.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's so good. It's so cool.
That's anxiety provoking.
Yeah.
But what's the case for Ultra Hand, Jeremy? As you said, we did talk about it at length before, but
you can just build anything. The whole world is available for you to build.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. How much did you enjoy the Addison tasks? Addison is the guy who with the signs.
I did every one that I came past.
Okay. Yeah, me too.
I loved him.
I'm like, every time I see him, I'm like, what are you doing out here, mate? Every time I'm like, oh, this fucking guy, what does he need now?
Yeah.
They're much more fun to do than like a Korok guy on his back, though. Like, I've just gotten to the point where I just mark them on the map and I keep going. Like, I'm over those. Because so often they take me away I don't want to go, or I have to skip things to go that way.
Do you have the teleport ability yet?
The medallion?
Yeah.
I literally just finished unlocking it yesterday.
That makes those way easier because you just put it down where you're at, do the thing, and then teleport back and then rip up the thing.
That is a good plan. Yeah. I will probably start implementing that.
Yeah, because it
shocked me how much of a fundamental area the Akala corner of the map is. Like, I was in there and they gave me a tutorial for stealth combat.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
Guys, like it,
I know.
Like, you really didn't press the point that I should come here quickly. Like,
yeah, or even to get those teleporting abilities and all that stuff. Like, you can just not.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Ultra Hand or Fuse. I find the Fuse mechanic really engaging. It tickles my brain. If it doesn't yours, that's fair, and we can win. And I don't have to go for it. But like, the way everything goes together.
It's awesome. It's so cool. I don't know. They're because they're both like fresh as fuck.
They really are. Like, what did I say before? Like, who are the geniuses who decided to give you that much power with Ultra Hand?
You know how fresh they are? Nintendo patent them. Patent them.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Good point. Yes, good point also.
And for that, we're giving it a light manipulation for Alan. The People's Choice Award.
Yeah.
I think. So
Ultra Hand, isn't it?
So my other case for Ultra Hand.
Yeah.
Is that if they hadn't like patented it, Ultra Hand could go into so many games. Ultra Hand can exist in a game that doesn't have combat in it.
Yes. Yep.
Ultra Hand could exist in in Prey 2.
Yeah.
In the next Arcane game.
Yeah.
Could you imagine an Ultra Hand ability in an Arcane game?
That would be nuts. That would be wild.
An immersive sim Ultra Hand game. Fuse in an Arcane game would be really cool as well.
Yep.
But immersive sim, the potentials for that are off the fucking chain.
Yeah, they really are. Fuck, we're 3 or 4 years. Just like with Breath of the Wild, we're going to start to see some cool shit when people start taking the lessons learned from this game and sticking them in other shit.
I can't wait for Genshin Impact 2 to come around and introduce all of those abilities.
I can't wait for FromSoft's next game.
Fuse in a FromSoft game. Oh, that'll be cool. That'll be really cool.
Like they did the open world thing of Breath of the Wild, and how much useless shit did you pick up in that game? What if they found ways to make all of it useful? For like your combat and your weapons and your builds.
Stop it. Stop it.
I'm not strong enough, please.
I'm just going to give it to both of them. I can't choose. They're both so good.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I'm going to combine them and just call them empowering players play.
I like that, yeah.
And just because they are linked.
Another plus for Fuse, don't forget it's also your bow and arrow, which I have forgotten until this moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
It's the final category.
The final category of the day, the Zeitgeist. This is not Game of the Year. This is the Game of the Year.
Yes.
This is not our Game of the Year. This is not Minimap's Game of the Year. This is not Kerry's Game of the Year. This is not Jeremy's Game of the Year. This is 2023's video game. What is the video game that we're going to think about when we think about the year that is 2023? We have 5 contenders. We have 1 year. We have 1 winner as well. Those 5 contenders are Baldur's Gate 3, Alan Wake 2, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Super Mario Wonder, and Lethal Company. It's Baldur's Gate 3.
I don't think it immediately is.
Really?
Really.
Do you think it's Alan Wake 2?
No. I think Alan Wake 2 is something of a zeitgeist moment for our corner of the industry, our critical corner, like the discourse corner, the media corner. Like, we're all up its butt, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know that everyone else is. Not just talking about like sales numbers, but like it's a bit of a sleeper in terms of public reception. And I think it'll do well in the same way that Control did, where it will just keep trucking along. Remedy games seem to have done that a lot in the last decade, where like Alan Wake, maybe it didn't come out to a massive success, but it kind of kept trucking along. And Control did that.
Yeah.
Quantum Break did that less, but
this is the most out of cult classics that Remedy has achieved.
absolutely. But it is still going to appeal to those people who are more interested in that cultish kind of vibe because it's still their game. It's still what they make.
Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom. I don't think it hit quite as hard as Breath of the Wild did when it came out.
No, like how could
if it had, then it would be over.
Yeah, like it because we think it's not. It's definitely not. And I know a lot of people who played Tears of the Kingdom went, yeah, it's good, but I like Breath of the Wild more. And it hasn't had this is not going to be the game that caused Pokemon to change their formula, whereas Breath of the Wild was. Yes. Mostly because like it's a sequel to that game, and that's great. And
it's an iteration, though. It's not a reinvention.
Yes. Yeah.
Although it's pretty fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it is tremendous.
Yeah.
It's not a game I've never played before.
Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Banger. Not
Banger.
Not the game of
not
the
Zeitgeist.
No.
And Lethal Company. It's hard because it's so late in the piece.
Yeah.
And it's also so early access. We have had some moments that I won't ever forget in that game.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait for each new update. I can't wait to see what comes as they develop. I can't wait to see what this game looks like in 1.0. I can't wait to see what the modding community continues to do with this game and see the clips from this game. I want to say it is the Zeitgeist, but it just unfortunately it hasn't. It has had an excellent moment, but I don't think it has defined the year.
Yeah, like and
it's just had its own spot in the sun.
It's like it's close to Vampire Survivors. It's close to an Among Us. It didn't hit Among Us levels, but it's close.
Nearly nothing will.
No, like Among Us was very specific.
It's like Pokemon Go levels of.
Maybe no, because people who don't play games play Pokemon Go.
People who don't play games played Among Us, is what I'm saying.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant Lethal Company hit Pokemon Go.
No. That's what. No. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, like it's not Wordle.
No.
Okay, but you've exhausted the list.
I didn't rule out Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, I think I am.
Baldur's Gate. It's such a weird thing for me because the people who play Baldur's Gate really respect its plot and its story, which I think are its strongest parts, right? In a lot of ways. Not entirely. There are plenty of other parts, which we'll get to, I'm sure. But I haven't played all the way through this game, so I haven't seen the coolest shit this game has to offer yet, right? Nor have I even heard tell of it. Just, it's in there. I know it's in there, which is cool and amazing. This game has plenty to reveal to me. It's not like Alan Wake where everyone's like, oh, this moment. Yeah. It's not like Tears of the Kingdom where like we all know about the depths now and it's game, in there and everyone's having their own personal moments with this game.
The game doesn't hide anything from you. In Baldur's Gate. It shows you everything almost immediately. And it can be overwhelming at the beginning. But once you crack that nut.
Yeah.
And you get the nut inside the nut. And then you nut in the bear. No, once you sorry, I'm so sorry. Got him. Once you
Jeremy.
Once the game once you get into that game, you can have you can have an experience like no other. person or an experience that you can't get from any other game. And I don't mean like, no one else will do this, but I mean in the sense that like you are going to have your very own Dungeons and Dragons campaign for you, made for you with someone else.
It's not like Mass Effect, right? Where you're all getting like variations on the source material.
No, there is so much of it there, and it is all done so basically like executed on like to like a T.
Yeah.
And it also like it is done. It has become a game of a moment that people are like, I'm so excited to play Baldur's Gate 3. Like now that I'm on Christmas break, it's the game that people were putting off time for, or like putting off playing other games for.
Yeah.
In a way that people who play like one game a year were like, it's going to be this. And I'm so excited for it to be this.
Yeah. It's it's a good point. And not just because of the story and the characters, which are great, but also like how robust the mechanics are. Like that each environment has items that you can interact with that will play with the game's verbs of like throw or shove or pick up and put down, and it all works. Like it's like an RPG, like a turn-based RPG that you can do as much inside of as you can in an action adventure game like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Maybe you don't have the superpowers that Link does to put things together and create cars and jet engines and whatever, but you can look at like a spider on a bridge of web, and you can, rather than attacking the gigantic spider with 200 health, you can knock out its bridge, and it takes like 30 or 40% of its damage because you damage it through the environment. Like,
or you can fall in love with the spider and get it to cause an uprising, or you can bribe the spider real money to get it to work for you, or you can just ignore the spider completely by stealthing around it, or trick the spider. Also, like there's
They also, that's a good point, and you've reminded me of something else. They add a lot of situations that, unlike a game like Mass Effect, where there's like a positive solution to most things in most ways. Like there's a Paragon positive solution out of things, and a Renegade positive solution out of things, where it's like you get what you want. There will be situations where if you want to tackle a situation a certain way, that will result in you not getting the thing that you want. And that's great. That makes the world feel so alive. Like we came across a group of people who their master was dead, and they were like, oh, we're trying to get through this. And they were like, do you know anything about this? And we say, oh, no, we just came off the crashed ship. And they were like, it's you, get him. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? And so Sam and I were like, oh, fuck, now we're in combat. And we're like, let's just knock these guys out. And we knocked them out, and we fucking left. Like, I don't know who you are. I don't know if you're going to come back to bite us, but like, you can just stay there and we're going to go.
Yeah. I killed a party member by mistake because I didn't realize that they were going to be a party member.
Oh.
And so I killed them. And then I went back later and saw them on the front cover of the game and went, oh, I fucked up.
Oh, wait, was it Karlach?
Yeah.
You killed Karlach?
Yeah.
Karlach's the best.
Yeah, I know.
Did you?
This was
you killed her before she was even in your party. So you could you even resurrect her?
No, I chopped off her head and then took her head to the guy who said he was going to give me a sword. This is my this is in my very first playthrough, not the one that I'm still in anymore. So like Karlach's now in my party of the second playthrough. But the very first time I was like, oh look, I've started to talk to this guy, so I guess I'll be on his side. And then I went over to her, and she's like a
demon or something.
Yeah, but like she's like tangentially aggressive towards you, and I was like, oh, there's a bad guy.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I guess I'll engage in bad guy tactics. And then someone was like, like, do we know who we really want to trust? And I was like, he'll give me a sword. And so I was like, let's attack anyway. And
Wow.
So my whole party just like destroyed her, and then I cut off her head.
Oh my God, poor thing.
And I was free to play the entire game.
And that's valid.
With that decision.
Yep. Sam did something when you walk into that, and all of this, take it with a grain of salt, because we're like halfway through Act 1 after 20 hours.
Yeah.
But Sam did a thing when we walked into that goblin town, because Sam was the one who went in, so they were the one running that situation, and they did the thing where they invoked the fucking the brainworm tadpole.
Yeah.
And they were like, "No, you serve us now." And they were like, "Oh, you're right, we do. Okay, don't worry about it. Just come through town." So we just walk through this. We've been exploring this town with our last 2 play sessions, because there's like 2 hidden cellars in here.
Yeah.
Well, like that gigantic spider cave for one. And like, we're still not done there. But we've just been walking around talking to the trolls and like walking behind the goblins and taking their soup and like yeah. Fuck. In terms of the zeitgeist of the fuck, you're right. It's weird,
what else?
Jeremy, because I've said this to you a couple of times now, where I've said that this game is quietly one of the most impressive games this year, where it quietly came out of nowhere. And for me, that is still true. I don't see that much discussion about this game, in all honesty. I really don't.
I see it everywhere.
Why? How is that? How is that we're
because I'm a lot more online.
Yeah.
In a bad way. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube more. You're on everything else more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck.
Like, I'm just gonna quickly go on twitch.tv and just have a look at how many people are streaming or how many people are watching Baldur's Gate. Not that that's like the overall barometer.
No, I wouldn't have thought that was very up there.
Hang on. Baldur's Gate 3.
Is it me, Jeremy, or are the kids wrong, or is it me? Like, you know what I mean? Am I just out of touch?
No one's wrong. All right, here we go. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 12th on Twitch.
With how many?
Huh?
With how many viewers?
9,000 views currently.
Fuck.
Yeah. It's the only single player game here.
Wow.
Behind podcast talk shows. Why is that number 1? Hang on, sorry.
Because of us, baby.
Sorry. Hang on. I had it on the wrong thing. My mistake. Let me try it again. All right, it's down a fair bit further. Sorry, I had it on.
Still 9,000 concurrent viewers for a single player game that came out 4 months ago.
Yeah,
that's huge.
It still might be maybe not the only single player game. I think the number 1 single player game currently is Path of Exile. Is that single player?
Path of Exile is like Diablo.
Oh, okay. In that case, yeah, it's still number 1 single player behind like Tarkov, GTA, League of Legends, Warzone, Counter-Strike,
Valorant.
Apex, Minecraft, Valorant, Lethal Company, WoW, Dead by Daylight. Like, it's all of those games.
Yeah.
And then it's like Rust, Street Fighter, Smash Bros, and then Baldur's Gate.
Wow. Fuck.
Yeah. Like, I think that this game is actually louder than you realize, but I think it's...
Yeah, it is. But
it's really
weirds me out.
It's in mainstream circles is the thing. Like, it was a big deal that it has come to PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah. No, I remember people waiting for it. I loved the thing that shows to me how big a deal it was that I hadn't even played it, and what you were describing about it to me in terms of its competencies and what it had on offer made me concerned for Starfield before it came out. And then once Starfield came out, I knew it had a problem on its hands, especially because like Larian had let it come out in full release on PC so the diehards could jump in. And then it was so good that people just bought it. And then people bought it again on PlayStation or for the first time on PlayStation because of all the buzz of it releasing in 1.0 on PC. Like,
see, I reckon if Baldur's Gate 3 didn't come out this year and Starfield did, I think it's got the exact same reaction.
Starfield?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, like I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But I don't actually no, I don't think exact same. However, I do think it would have been very similar in that it would have been it will have been this sort of middling reaction of like not great. Like I don't think it lost review score points because of Baldur's Gate.
No.
However, I do think it for anyone who played Baldur's Gate before Starfield, it will have almost immediately ruined a lot of the potential for Starfield for them.
Maybe. I think that game just did it to itself.
In a lot of ways, yeah. It's not a very impressive game.
No.
It has a lot of flaws.
I still remember
it's no Skyrim.
I still remember the end of the episode where we spoke about Starfield, and my only question was like, why did it take so fucking long? Like, I said, what have they been doing for 10 years?
Yeah.
I still don't actually know the answer.
That's because you haven't played the game enough, Jeremy.
Oh, yeah, that's why. Something happens in the third act and it's amazing.
Yeah, the third act, the third time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to Baldur's Gate. I'm so glad Armored Core 1 Gamer Can Hang and just, i.e. something at all. But there's a lot of love here for Zelda, Alan Wake, for what was best sidekick? Yeah, Alex Casey, that makes sense. For Tech Expo, for the Master Sword, for Crime Boss Rocket City.
Yeah.
It's been a good year. For Spoken. What a year in games.
What a year.
Thank you all for listening to this episode. That's it for us for this episode. We will be back in just a couple of days to
soon.
Actually talk about. Yes, soon. Sorry, I was trying to riff on that and I just froze up. I've lost my yes and. I think I spent it all.
Yeah, is it a yes?
Yes. Our next episode is soon. It is actually our Game of the Year show where we will actually talk about my Game of the Year and Jeremy's Game of the Year, and we will determine MiniMap's Game of the Year.
Yes.
Last year was a bit of an upset, I found, in terms of what came to the top. I don't know what's going to happen.
What was last year's?
It was Neon White.
Oh, that's right. Hell yeah.
It earns it. It's got it. That's why it's the MiniMap Game of the Year 2022. But I did not see that coming.
No, neither did I.
No.
We just couldn't rule it out by the end.
No. I'd only played an hour of it.
Yeah.
So tune in a couple of days when
Gubbins,
who the fuck knows what? When Gubbins wins Game of the Year.
Gubbins sweep.
Gubbins sweep. Best art direction, best narrative design, best technical direction.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna do it for us for this episode, everyone. We're gonna do the outro. I desperately need to go and have a meal because we
went for too long
to start this at 10:30.
And
it is now 6:15 p.m.
I was also late. I was very late.
Which is okay. We've been there. But I am hungry. Yeah. I am ready to eat.
Yeah.
So everyone, thank you so much for listening. It means a lot. Look out for that next week's episode. Well, it's not even a week in this next episode. It'll be out in the new year. We'll be recording it in the new year, but only just. You can follow us on the social accounts at MiniMapAU to make sure you don't miss that. It's also just the website name, minimap.com.au for Blue Sky. You can find the Blue Sky account for MiniMap there. You can follow us individually as well. Jeremy, where can they follow you?
At Obi-Wan-Jez on everything but Blue Sky, which is jeremy.minimap.com.au.
You can follow me on Twitter at KJPalmer_24 or without the _24 on Blue Sky. And that website I mentioned before, minimap.com.au, hey, that's us. That's what we do. That's who we are. You can head to that website, minimap.com.au, for everything else Minimap related, including our other podcasts, including the reviews we spoke about before, like Dredge and Ghost Runner 2. I think you mentioned Bilkin's Folly in the pre-show or the mid-show. That's all there. Plus our PAX reviews. It's all there up on the site. You can find it. Previews from PAX, yes. Excuse me. For those of you live with us on Twitch, stick around. I don't know how long we'll hang out, but we'll be here for a little bit.
Yeah.
Pardon me. And for those of you listening later, make sure to give us those oh so tasty, as they say, 5-star ratings. It helps us out a bunch. And consider joining us for the Game of the Year episode in just a couple of days. Lastly, if you wanted to support us on Patreon, if you wanted to help keep the mics and lights on, that's a great way to do it. That's patreon.com/minimapau. And for $5 you'll get 24 hours of early access for all episodes of the MiniMapCast, as well as other benefits, all while helping us out greatly. We're going to go. We're going to refuel and recharge and be back for the next end of year episode. But until then, have a good New Year's time, and we'll see you later.